to open up the fracking. And I mean, the first thing he did was close the Keystone Pipeline. Didn't make any sense whatsoever.
Speaking of the midterm elections coming up, your leadership rolled out its Commitment to America plan, explaining how Republican leaders will act if they are to take power of the Speaker's gavel and committee chair gavels come November. Your thoughts on this proposal and what it would mean if Republicans are in charge of the various committees on Capitol Hill and running the House and the Senate?
Yeah, well, we need to make difficult decisions, okay? We need to spend responsibly and make sure that, obviously, national defense is number one. If we're not safe, nothing else matters. Homeland security, secure the border, the economy, not depending on foreign countries. The manufacturing must be here in the United States. We're dealing with the supply chain issue now. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to stop the spending and balance the budget, for crying out loud. I mean, it's the least we can do.
I know you campaign hard. You get to know your constituents. You crisscross that district. There are a lot of issues out there right now. I'm wondering what issues are connecting most with your constituents right now. Is it inflation and gasoline prices? Is it the crime crisis in a lot of our big cities? Is it the border? Or is it something else?
All the above. Now, I'm a huge veterans advocate, Mike. You know that. And, I have a lot of veterans in my area, and it's my number one priority. We need to give the veterans everything they've earned and deserve. I have a particular bill right now that's gaining a lot of steam. We have 316 co-sponsors in the House and 66 in the Senate. And what this will do is correct an injustice. The concurrent receipt is what it's known as, and it has to do with medically retired veterans. They have to choose between getting their pension from DOD and, in most cases, getting their pension from DOD and then also maybe offsetting their pension from VA. Actually, it's not a pension, it's a disability rating. They should be able to get 100% of their disability and 100% of their pension. Particularly, first of all, they've earned it. So it's an injustice, but particularly during these troubled times when they're on limited incomes. So that's something that we really care about. Our veterans are number one. Our seniors, again, dealing with inflation. Very, very difficult. Now, we have a lot of nonprofits in the area that are helping out, Mike. As a matter of fact, they're helping with the storm. A lot of folks are, as I said, collecting packages and getting them down to the Fort Myers area. But, that's what I'm hearing. Secure the border, obviously. Back to blue. I mean, look at our first responders. They're always ready. They're there for us. We need to help them. We need to fund the police, not defund the police. And that's a real problem. We're going to reverse all that. And that's in the Commitment to America.
Congressman Gus Bilirakis of the great state of Florida, my best to you, your family, and the great people in Florida as they clean up and rebuild after Hurricane Ian. Thanks for your time. Thanks,
Mike. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 844-94-BIBLE. That's 844-94-BIBLE. 844-94-BIBLE.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
We tried Dynovite for gut health and immune support, and after a couple of weeks, our little Gizmo was acting like a puppy again. His coat was shinier, he had a lot less scratching and shedding, and he seemed like his happy old self.
My dog smelled and scratched constantly. We bathed and sprayed her, took her to the vet, but no results. Now, a little Dynovite in her food helps Bella keep her beautiful coat with no scratching or smell.
Get 10% off your next order of Dynovite nutritional supplements for dogs at Dynovite.com.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-895-1414. That's 800-895-1414.
Columbo and Katie.
We are now into October and just over a month away from the midterm elections. Time is actually flying. Join us on Monday as Katie and I bring you all the important news and headlines to start your week.
Weekdays at 2 on NewstalkSTL.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with 1 unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
For all the women listening right now, I want you to picture a financial advisor. What do you see? It's an old guy in a suit, isn't it? Now, you and your husband, you're meeting with said advisor. Who's he talking to? Him. That's the problem. Deanna Orff of the All Financial Group has seen this failure in the financial industry for years, and she's doing something about it. Join Deanna Tuesday, October 18th for an exclusive women's event called Women in Wealth. It's time to talk about your 401k, your business, and your concerns about retirement. 92% of women say they want to know more about financial planning, and this could be a great first step. The Women in Wealth event is on October 18th. It's free, but you need to make a reservation today. Call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services are offered through All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri license number 803-9738.
The YMCA is just a starting line. For the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface. Y is the before work hustle and after school home. A section of my block, a corner to call my own. With my why, I stand strong, seen and supported all along. It's a million faces in a mirror, and everyone belongs. Find your why. Join today at ymca.org for a better us.
Hey, it's First Alert Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton from Channel 4, and we are proud to be the official weather source for News Talk STL. Just like you've grown to expect from us at Channel 4, you can expect the same accurate, detailed, and timely weather coverage from News Talk STL. The First Alert weather team will keep you ahead of the big weather changes. And the one thing you can count on in St. Louis, the weather is constantly changing. So Channel 4 and News Talk STL are committed to keeping you up to date and safe.
You got Gold, the MVP favorite, and the Renaissance man. Oh, and the 2 aces and queens, yeah, have fun against them. The NL postseason on Fox and FS1. Let's go.
Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Monday, October 3rd. I'm Ted Lindner with the Fox News Rundown. President Biden going to be traveling to Florida and Puerto Rico this week to survey storm damage and meet with officials and residents after hurricanes battered both regions within a 10-day span. The president and first lady will be in Puerto Rico today and then head to Florida on Wednesday. There's a growing fear that the number of dead is going to continue to rise in Florida as rescue teams continue to look for people trapped by the floodwaters. And the Supreme Court's new term set to begin today with a new justice on the bench.
Today marks Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's first term as a Supreme Court justice. The first case the court will consider has to do with whether the EPA has the authority to claim the Clean Water Act applies to an Idaho couple's plans for a piece of property the EPA says is technically wetlands. But there are other critical cases on the calendar, including two that could result in an end to affirmative action on public and private college campuses. Two other cases pertain to elections. One is a challenge to North Carolina's redistricting and whether gerrymandering violated the state constitution. Another case out of Alabama alleges the redrawing of congressional districts violated the Voting Rights Act. And Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
And I'm Ted Lindner on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows.
Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps.
Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble.
Subscribe and watch
News Talk STL.
Hey, Columbo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs, including braces. Dr. Boscia uses the My Forever Smile braces system, which straightens teeth many times in less than a year for half the price of traditional braces. Traditional braces or Invisalign can cost $6,000 or more, but Dr. Boscia only charges $29.98 for My Forever Smile, and incentives and insurance can lower the price even more, plus New Creation offers in-office financing. Learn more at newcreationdentalcare.com.
The St. Louis Young Republicans and 1019 94.1 News Talk STL is proud to present the Freedom Fest Barbecue, Sunday, October 9th. Tim Jones and I will be emceeing the luncheon at the St. Louis County GOP headquarters. Adult tickets are $30, student tickets are $20, and kid tickets are $5. We will have special guests like Attorney General Eric Schmidt, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, State Senator Bill Eigel, and more. Stand against tyranny, strengthen the conservative movement, and enjoy tasty eats at the Freedom Fest Barbecue. For more information, visit NewstalkSTL.com.
Hi, I'm Ben Affleck. The only thing better than playing a hero in the movies is being a hero in real life. Like the 50,000 veterans who returned from Iraq and Afghanistan with devastating injuries. They are true heroes, and they're why I'm proud to support Paralyzed Veterans of America. For more than 60 years, Paralyzed Veterans of America has made a promise to never leave a fallen comrade behind. They make sure veterans with spinal cord injuries get the quality medical care, rehabilitation, and housing they need when they come home. They stay with our fallen heroes for the long term, offering counseling, job training, and support to help them regain the freedom and independence they fought so hard for, all at no cost to them. Our veterans fought for us. Let's fight for them. To learn more about how you can help, visit pva.org. That's pva.org. We will never leave a fallen comrade behind.
St. Louis's place to talk.
The American people have further lost faith in our governmental institutions.
People can decide what they want and how they want to live.
News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, I'm excited to tell you about our new entertainment partner, Vidgo. V as in Victor, I-D-G-O. Vidgo gives you the freedom to be entertained at a price you can afford. Vidgo has all my favorite live sports networks and a great choice of news programming. All of that starting at just $59 a month. You do deserve the freedom to be entertained at a price you and your family can afford. So please go to vidgo.com/Bill. On this Monday, recently we reported that Virgin Atlantic Airlines is going woke. They are allowing flight crews to cross-dress if they want. They are compelling their employees to wear pronoun pins, which spell out how passengers are to address the flight crews. He, she, they, them, him, her. I guess, hey, you doesn't cut it anymore. Now, all of this is too confusing for me, your humble correspondent, so I am not going to fly Virgin Atlantic. I'm sorry, I know this is offensive, but I don't want the male pilot wearing a dress. I don't want that. It's me, I know it's me, but is it really necessary? I guess I could be petty for believing this, but again, it is all too much. This woke stuff is oppressive and unnecessary, and I am tired of it. Wake me up when woke is over. Now this. No question, there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the NewstalkSTL Weather Center.
Clear skies and cool temperatures in the low 50s in St. Louis this morning. Lots of sunshine on tap again today. Slightly cooler than yesterday's 79. We're up to about 76 this afternoon. Cooler tonight with a low in the 40s and a high on Tuesday with partly cloudy skies of about 77 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
News, analysis, opinion. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on Newstalk STL.
What a weekend at Busch Stadium. I was at the game on Saturday, but man, great pregame on Sunday. The last home regular season game for Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina. That means a lot to St. Louis. We're not talking just baseball. That means a lot to St. Louis. So we got a chance to kind of reflect on that here in just a little bit. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thank you for making Newstalk STL part of your morning and part of your week. We had a really interesting conversation. Something interesting happening on just off the eastern seaboard of the United States has to do with environmental activists and also animal rights activists. What happens when they collide? Oh, it's kind of delicious. Here's what we learned. What happens when there is a conflict between renewable energy, green energy, and you've got endangered species? That's actually happening just off the shores of the United States right now, and there's now lawsuit filed over it because what's going to take precedent? Interesting question. We're joined now by James Taylor, who is with the Heartland Institute. And James, first of all, appreciate you being on the show. I think it's the first time you've been on Newstalk STL, so glad to have you with us. So lay the foundation here. What's the conflict that's now getting and going to sort of that lawsuit phase?
Okay, well, thank you for having me on, Mike. Basically, what you have is when utilities are pushing for wind power or solar power projects, they're pushing it for a reason, and the reason is this. They get a guaranteed return on their investment of about 10%. When you build out these wind power projects, they are immensely expensive. They're usually in the realm of a couple $1 billion. They get guaranteed profit of a couple $100 million every time that they do this. So they work in concert with the so-called environmental groups to push these projects, even when you have perfectly fine coal or natural gas or nuclear power plants in place. They want to build out the new facilities to enhance their profits. So what's being proposed right now is an offshore wind power project off Virginia Beach, Virginia. And the problem is this. Well, there are many problems, but the biggest problem is that you have right whales. There's only 300, just over 300 of them left in the world. And that is key to their migration path. And right whales, when they die primarily because of collisions with ships or other entanglements with human activity. And by building out this proposed wind power project, you are almost certainly going to be directly killing many of the few whales that are left, because they're going to be colliding with ships. They're going to have their navigation disrupted by all the sound pollution going on undersea when they're pile driving the large turbines into the seabed, into the seafloor. You're going to have all sorts of problems that are basically going to doom this species. And if this were anything else, if this were a natural gas power plant, if this were mining for coal, if it were anything else that had to deal with conventional energy, environmental activists would not stand for this for a minute. The media would be in an uproar. The people perpetrating the project would be vilified beyond belief. But because we worship at the altar of carbon dioxide emissions and wind and solar power, there is barely a peep coming from anybody who self-identifies as an environmental activist as they drive this species to extinction.
James, I've just got a real quick follow-up question. I know Gabe has something here. When you say guaranteed profit on those, is that because of government subsidies and incentives or things like that? Because I don't know that the wind power is that efficient just yet to deliver a guaranteed profit.
Right. So it's a return on the money they spend. So basically what you have throughout the country is most of the utilities, they are regulated by, but also protected by. They have a monopoly set up and guaranteed and protected by the federal government, not by the federal government, by the state governments. And the state government then says, okay, if you want to build a project, really if you want to have any type of very significant expenditure, you come to us, you get our approval. So you have the utilities that go to the state of Virginia, and they say, we'd like to build this, and with our monopoly, because you regulate how much we can charge people. The deal is the government gives them the monopoly, but then the government then signs off on what their costs and expenditures are. So they say, we'd like to do this, and look, we're going to reduce carbon dioxide emissions with this offshore wind power project. So the government regulators typically say, oh, carbon dioxide, well, that's far more important than anything else. Yes, you get to do this. So yes, you want to build a $2 billion project. I'm throwing that number out there because that's typically what the cost is. It can vary. But you want to build a $2 billion project and make $200 million in guaranteed profit. We're all on board because you're reducing carbon dioxide.
Good morning, James. Gabe Pfeiffer here. One of the things that I've noticed too about particularly the wind projects is their impact on birds, and I often wondered how the animal protection sort of side of the environmental movement has responded or does respond to the other impacts of these types of projects, that and as well as the solar farms and what they do to their local environment, their local wildlife. Do they ever say anything about these projects, or is it really just the complete opposite of what would happen, like you said, if it were a natural gas a pipeline or something like that?
Right, great point. It's a double standard. So we know for a fact that wind turbines just in the United States kill literally millions of birds and bats each and every year, including many threatened and endangered species. And they get a free pass. There are no consequences. On the other hand, let's say that you were you were drilling for oil or natural gas, and let's say that you had a retention pond where you keep some of the water that you've used in that, and if a bird happens to land in there and die, then you face enormous governmental consequences and penalties. Whereas if you kill an endangered a bald eagle or some other a bird or endangered bat with your turbines, it's like, well, that's okay because we're reducing carbon dioxide emissions. It has turned on its head what the meaning of environmentalism is. Back when I was growing up as a child, environmentalism was saving open spaces. And by the way, it requires more than 400 square miles of wind turbines to produce the same amount of electricity as a single coal or natural gas power plant. When I was a child, environmentalism also meant, in addition to preserving open lands, preserving species. But now none of the self-identified environmental activists really care about that.
So the Environmental Protection Agency, which would usually be the enforcement arm for all of these regulations, they are literally just kind of flouting their own rules and probably the law, I think, to allow this to continue, right?
Well, they apply exemptions for wind and solar power. And again, these are exemptions that don't apply for anybody else. They give wind and solar power a free pass, and they pretend that these environmental consequences, these species deaths, simply do not occur. There have been conventional energy projects that have been delayed and canceled left and right in the western United States, for example, because of concerns about the sage grouse. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of sage grouse, and then environmental activists say, oh, but you're looking to engage in your activity in an area that sage grouse like to use, so therefore we can't do it. They're not even showing any deaths. They're just saying, well, it's habitat that they like to use. Whereas on the other hand, when you know that you're going to drive the right whale into extinction with this offshore wind project, well, they really don't care.
Hey, James, this is Ken. Real quick, has PETA or any of the Animal Welfare Institute or anybody stepped up to protest this thing? Because the right whale, if there are 300 left, they're not long for us.
Yeah, no, you hear nary a peep from PETA or any other self-identified environmental groups, including conservation groups, including wildlife groups. Again, they're worshiping at the altar of the renewable energy industrial complex, all in the name of the so-called climate crisis, which does not exist.
James, this is going to sound like a snarky question, and I really don't mean it to be. With the construction or the proposed construction of these in the ocean and obviously everything, ocean's a big place. Why don't the whales just swim somewhere else if they're spooked by the noise? I think a lot of people are asking that because I'm listening, and I'm sure you're right. I just don't understand why.
Yeah, they have set migration patterns, much like birds do. When there are large wind power projects, for example, in Altamont Pass in California and other places, the species don't simply say, all right, we'll divert and go around it. This is what their instinctive migration pattern is, and their hope is that they'll just go through it, and they just don't know what's going on there, but that's what they do. So that's what you're going to see here. Plus, you're going to have all sorts of activity with ships that are going to be out there as far as setting up the turbines, and collisions with ships. That's the biggest threat to right whales. So even before you get to the noise activity of pounding the turbines into the seafloor, you're still going to have collisions with ships, even if the whales were to understand what's going on, which they simply don't do.
Got it. Okay. All right. So the Heartland Institute and also the Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow is also involved in this as well. Where do we learn more online, James? Any websites, social media, anything like that?
Sure. You can learn more about the Heartland Institute at heartlands.org, and you can certainly learn more about CFACT at cfact.org.
Got the news roundup starting in just about 4 minutes here on News Talk STL, including we got a preview of what's coming up in the United States Supreme Court's term. That actually starts today with arguments on some of the cases that they've selected. So I've got some details on that for you right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. What's happening today? Here's your first dose of the news you need to know. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
St. Louis, it's Joe Pags. Proud to be part of the News Talk STL lineup. Every weeknight from 7 to 10, we'll get together to talk about what's going on. News, analysis, opinion. You won't hear anything like it in St. Louis. The Joe Pags Show, every weeknight at 7 on News Talk STL. Welcome home.
10-year-old George Haruza and his parents, with only what they could carry in a suitcase, made a daring escape from behind the Iron Curtain of communism. George Haruza and his family risked their lives fleeing communist oppression to secure the freedom and promise of America. George Haruza quickly learned English, studied hard, and worked harder. Overcoming every hurdle in his way, George Haruza is now a world-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader.
So I do believe in a limited government. Governments should provide for the people who are really in need, encourage everybody else to rise up to their potential, and then mostly get out of the way.
Now George Haruza wants to bring his record of getting good things done to the state Senate, and George Haruza understands the mission. George Haruza for State Senate, a record of getting good things done. Paid for by Haruza for Missouri.
If you believe Brandon and the supply chain issues are still in crisis, or even if you don't, hurry into Southern Armory, your Second Amendment headquarters, for the best selection of firearms, suppressors, holsters, ammunition, pepper spray, and knives. Browse through our constantly changing inventory, order something special, or have us repair or modify that firearm that you've been putting off. Try our firearms training simulator. See the demo video on our website. Come into Southern Armory, 9901 Watson Road, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, at southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Are you the type of person who loves their community and wants it to be the best it can be? Now it's easier than ever to do your part. Go to recyclemode.com to see just how easy it is to recycle the right way. Or if you already recycle and want to be as efficient as possible, recyclemode.com can tell you what should and should not be recycled in your area. Become part of the clean recycling movement today. It's the right thing to do. Sponsored by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Kenny Zhu, president of Color Us United.
Race became a profitable industry. That's what happened. Racial victimhood. We all believe in civil rights, but then there are people who actually profit off of racial victimhood in this country. Diversity, equity, and inclusion right now, the new hot thing in companies, is a 10 billion plus industry.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30
on News Talk STL.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
But I'm not going to turn my dialogue to you guys. I really like this channel.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, a lot going on in the world, including right here in St. Louis. Going to try to get to as much of it as we can. And you know what? This is just one of those days. I'm just going to say it throughout the day. Tell me what you're thinking. 314-912-1019. I know a lot of people enjoy hearing the conversations and the interviews and all that kind of stuff, but I'm just kind of in the mood to hear from everybody around St. Louis, whether you agree with me or not.
You really want to know what I'm thinking?
I do want to know. I do. And I want to know what everybody else is thinking too. Just one of those days. I just want a lot of different voices today.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't schedule a lot of interviews today just because I really want to hear from people. So hopefully that's what happens today. I don't know why. I'm just kind of in the mood for that.
Yeah, let's go for it.
5:50 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. That's Ken Williams. All right, three things that I'm keeping an eye on. St. Louis is kind of, sort of, at least talking about possibly paying police officers more. I'll tell you about that here in just a little bit. Yeah. Also, Ukraine has some success pushing Russia back in some areas, not all, but they made some significant gains in reclaiming land in their own country in the last few days. And honoring Yadi and Albert, man, what a weekend at Busch Stadium.
Yeah.
Wow. I went to the game Saturday, and my friend Bob, had an extra ticket, and he invited me to go. And we got there. He said it's going to be sold out. We need to get there early. I'm all about it. So 6:15 game. I think we got there at 3:30, and it was packed around the stadium.
Yeah.
I had never seen anything like it. Adam Wainwright took a picture, put it up on his social media. Said all the years I've been driving to work, hours before a game, I've never seen it. And apparently, people were there, 5, 6, 7 hours. Not because there's any benefit of getting there early. People just had to be around the stadium and around the vibe and the buzz. Man, it was cool. Man, it was so much fun.
I think that you can attribute a little bit of this to the good job that they've done down there with Ballpark Village and all of the other different things you can do in addition to just going to the stadium these days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there is. I mean, there's a lot of, obviously I have some policy faults with the way they did Ballpark Village, but it's there now. And it's fun. I mean, I've eaten at the restaurants. But yeah, I think it was just, we knew this was something really special.
Yeah.
With Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, and it's not just about baseball. It really is something that the entire city, can bond over and unite over.
And I saw the speech with Albert Pujols, and he's just a class act. He loves St. Louis.
We're going to hear parts of that here at about 6:05.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so other huge news here. The Supreme Court's new term begins today.
Yeah.
Here we are again, with a new justice on the bench. Fox News' Jessica Rosenthal has the update.
Today marks Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's first term as a Supreme Court justice. The first case the court will consider has to do with whether the EPA has the authority to claim the Clean Water Act applies to an Idaho couple's plans for a piece of property the EPA says is technically wetlands. But there are other critical cases on the calendar, including 2 that could result in an end to affirmative action on public and private college campuses. 2 other cases pertain to elections. One is a challenge to North Carolina's redistricting and whether gerrymandering violated the state constitution. Another case out of Alabama alleges the redrawing of congressional districts violated the Voting Rights Act. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
I don't usually report on just break-in crimes, property crimes, but this one really irritated me. Early Sunday morning, there was a break-in at the historic Scott Joplin house on Delmar. Major damage reported. There were witnesses and Missouri State Parks reps who say that by the time somebody called the police and somebody got there, there was somebody throwing things out of a second-story window in the home. They don't know exactly how much the damage is, but it includes things like musical instruments, archives, artifacts over 100 years old for Scott Joplin, who was such a huge influence in America's jazz culture. So that just ticks me off like you would not believe.
What's the point?
Yeah. So we'll know more in the coming days, maybe weeks, how much damage was actually done. And the thing is, you can have all the insurance you want on that. It doesn't replace the actual items as well. All right, we're going to talk about this more at 6:20. A resolution is going to be discussed on Wednesday at the St. Louis City Board of Aldermen that would increase the pay for St. Louis City police officers, Metropolitan Police officers. We don't know how much it would be, but there's a resolution that's been submitted that they'll talk about that. If they approve it, then they say, okay, now we're going to look for ways to pay the police officers more.
They need to be very careful, and we'll mention this later, but I heard from someone that they're in record numbers leaving the police force.
And I have those numbers.
Okay.
620. We will talk about that. And it's getting, we know how violent St. Louis is, particularly some of the districts. We know the crime rate. We know it's bad. And a lot of it has to do with pay. A lot of it simply has to do with how the police know that City Hall looks at them.
Yeah.
And how it treats them. And this is beyond the ideology. When we talk about, leftism, it's not just because we're on the right and they're on the left. These are the real world effects when you have fringe extremists running your government, is that things like this happen. So once again, we are going to have more on that at 6:20, and there's a lot to cover there as well. All right, recovery efforts underway in Florida after Hurricane Ian has moved on. On Meet the Press, moderator Chuck Todd was talking to Republican U.S. Senator Rick Scott, and Rick Scott was talking about some of the recovery efforts that are underway right now.
So people are working hard. They're trying to get the power back on, make sure your phones work. But the biggest thing right now is just continuing to make sure we find everybody, and anybody that needs help, they get to the hospital, get whatever care they need.
We've got dozens of storm-related deaths have already been confirmed in Florida following Hurricane Ian. President Biden is expected to visit Florida this Wednesday. Hopefully the media learned their lesson after getting bee-slapped by Governor DeSantis when they tried to make it all political right away. There's plenty of time for that
still
later.
trying.
Yeah, I think it'll come back is what I think they're going to do. DeSantis and the White House are coordinating, and they're on the same page right now. All right, just ahead, Yachty and Wayno and Albert. What a great weekend.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. 800-281-4224. That's 800-281-4224.
Hey folks, here's great news for active aging seniors. The Kanega Watch, the only medical alert smartwatch with built-in fall detection. Yeah, the Kanega Watch is much different than the other guys. It's a stylish, discreet watch you can wear all the time. Get help through the watch in one of three ways. Your voice, pushing the watch's alert button, or have the fall detection connect you to a US-based 24/7 monitoring center who'll speak to you through your watch and can send help to your GPS location nationwide. And get this, it can do that even if you're not responsive. This is true 24/7 peace of mind for you and those that love you. Order your Kanega Watch with a full refund 30-day trial period. Call now, 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. That's 800-413-7152.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. 800-979-3060. That's 800-979-3060.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewstalkSTL.com.
I'm Rich Thomason. The cost of recovery from Hurricane Ian expected to run into the tens of billions of dollars. The tragic cost in lives lost now tops 80. Florida and the Carolinas hard hit. Correspondent Bobby Kina-Kavan in Fort Myers says the storm's impact spreads as far as the eye can see.
In some neighborhoods, there was the whir of chainsaws as residents cleared fallen trees and other debris. But in other places, progress was much slower. Some trailer homes were still in shambles with no signs of work being done. In some places, not much work could be done because everything was totally destroyed. There was the eerie sight of boats capsized along roads, far from their moorings, far from the water.
In the wake of Ian's devastation, Town Hall News and our companion network SRN News, partnering with Christian nonprofit relief agency Food for the Poor, to send emergency supplies to the victims in Florida and the Carolinas. More information available at the website srnnews.com. Today is day one for the trial of a Wisconsin man, allegedly the driver of an SUV that plowed through spectators at a Christmas parade in a Milwaukee suburb, killing 6, injuring dozens.
Darrell Brooks faces nearly 80 charges in last year's car crash in Waukesha. Prosecutors promised to present extensive video of the SUV plowing through the crowd, and the trial had looked like a straightforward proceeding, but the judge last week allowed Brooks to represent himself. He has no legal training, but will get the opportunity to cross-examine victims, police officers, and anyone else who testifies.
And that's correspondent Julie Walker reporting. Watching Wall Street this morning, Dow futures are up 91 points, NASDAQ futures down 34, S&P futures up 4 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
The British government dropping plans to cut income taxes.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We're in good shape to start things out. Beginning at 7 a.m., a reminder for you that the ramp from West Florissant to eastbound 270 will shut down permanently, and you'll have to shift to the new eastbound 270 on-ramp, which will be on Pershall between Washington, Elizabeth, and West Florissant. I'm Joe Sonderman. That's the very latest from the News Talk STL Traffic Center. This report sponsored by Chucky.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Clear skies and cool temperatures in the low 50s in St. Louis this morning. Lots of sunshine on tap again today. Slightly cooler than yesterday's 79. We're up to about 76 this afternoon. Cooler tonight with a low in the 40s and a high on Tuesday with partly cloudy skies of about 77 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by House Sold Easy. Looking to sell a house fast? Call David today at 314-293-3000. That's David with House Sold Easy at 314-293-3000.
Employee onboarding?
Automated.
Customer support?
Automated.
What if you could automate all your company's routine operation tasks and do it easily? Lead management.
Automated.
With Zapier, you can. Zapier is the leader in no-code automation. Connect over 5,000 apps, automate almost any workflow, and streamline your team's performance without hiring a developer and with no coding required. That's right. Zapier's templates make it simple for you to automate anything in minutes, no matter your level of expertise. Zapier eliminates routine tasks and frees your employees to focus on the bigger picture. And with Zapier's advanced security features and annual SOC 2 audits, your data is safe and secure. See why thousands of companies, including Slack, Salesforce, and HubSpot, trust Zapier to automate their businesses. Even complex tasks?
Automated with Zapier.
Try Zapier for free today at zapier.com/radio. That's ZAPIER.com/radio. Zapier.com/radio.
The candidates.
We're going to win this campaign.
The issues.
Gas prices, Biden inflation.
The election news, analysis, and opinion you won't get anywhere else. Decision 2022 happens.
There's a backlash coming
on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
The 0-1. Albert lifts it in the air out to center. Going back, Reynolds at the wall. He's done it. He's done it. His final regular season home game, number 702. He's tied the game. He's tied Babe Ruth all time in runs batted in. 2,214.
And that was the call from Major League Baseball MLB Network with Albert Pujols, what turned out to be his final at-bat in a regular season home game at Busch Stadium over the weekend.
Yeah, you can't write that.
No,
I mean,
cool.
Vic talks about how he thinks that they should make a movie about this whole thing because of everything surrounding the whole situation, the whole year, and what they went through and everything. And it's like they're writing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you actually wrote this script without an actual team, you'd be like, come on, stop. You're over the top.
That's a little hokey, isn't it? Don't you think it's a little hokey?
How cheesy can you be?
Right, exactly.
I was
very major league of you.
Yeah. I was at Saturday's game, and it's just a different buzz. 314-912-1019, especially if you were there. Did you sense what I was sensing? Is that, yes, it's about baseball. Yes, it's about Yadier Molina. Yes, it's about Albert Pujols. I would say, yes, it's about Waino, but I'm getting the sense that he may come back next year. That's a whole other thing.
I think they're not talking about it on purpose.
I think, yeah, because he was speaking about the other guys at the ceremony. By the way, hi, I'm Mike. It's almost 6:08. That's Gabe Pfeiffer over there. That's Ken Williams right over there. And this is bigger than baseball, like I said. Let me come back to that. This is one of the few things that unites St. Louis. I mean, it just absolutely is. I went to the game on Saturday, which was a 6:15 game. And I was going with a friend of mine, Bob Bertolino, he's a professor over at Maryville University, and he said, "Well, I'll come by, 4:00 or whatever, and we'll grab, I'll grab you on the way in, and we'll maybe possibly go get something to snack on or something to eat before the game, like great, typical pregame stuff." And then he texts me and he says, "Hey, maybe we should leave earlier because it's a sellout and it's maybe hard to find a parking place." Okay. Great. I said, I'll just go whenever you want to get there. It's fine with me. And I'm thinking, yeah, we get there, 2-3 hours early. We'll wander around and it won't be that busy. Oh my goodness. It's apparently started getting packed like 5 or 6 hours before it was like noon and Ballpark Village was packed.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We walk up to the stadium and we found a decent parking spot. We found a good parking spot. We were only 3 blocks from the stadium, which is pretty good. And I mean, thousands and thousands of people by 3:45 or whatever it was for a 6:15 game, just packed around the stadium. And it was this party vibe. I mean, nobody was frustrated that the line was long. Nobody was bumping into each other. It was a really cool vibe out there.
That's one of the things I really, really love about St. Louis, the entire region. It's very much a sports town, particularly a baseball town. I was kind of mildly into baseball before I got here, but once I got here, it's like, okay, baseball is
That's
it.
Right.
I got you.
This is it.
I'm with you.
It. I was actually with the group of people that I ended up meeting. All these folks. 2 of them are actually from Denver. They're from Colorado. And they were wearing Cardinals stuff. Of course, I teased them. I'm like, hey, thanks for giving us Nolan Arenado. That was great of you. And they said, when that happened, we just followed Nolan Arenado. We're now Cardinals fans.
Oh, wow.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. But they were marveling. They'd never been to Busch Stadium, and they were just kind of marveling at just the whole, I don't want to overuse the word, but the whole vibe that people had. I mean, just how giddy everybody was. We understood this was really cool with Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols, and they were like, this is amazing. I mean, this is just the culture is amazing.
Yeah.
When it comes to the way the St. Louis Cardinals are with St. Louis in general.
I'm really glad that we haven't completely lost that unity that comes
Mm-hmm.
with sports fandom. I've been worried for it for a while now, especially with the way the leagues have been behaving over time. Making their occasional woke missteps and things like that. But to hear that, it's really great that it's, especially in St. Louis,
right,
that it's still alive and well.
It's been strained, though. I mean, it has been strained over, and we've overcome it, in St. Louis at least. But yeah, I mean, MLB and the NFL and all those different major league organizations need to settle down and stop being woke. One thing that I would like to say is that this is the kind of thing within that whole atmosphere and Ballpark Village and the stadium and everything that we need to start adopting and pushing out throughout the city. If we can get the security, the whole thing to move out through the city, that would be so amazing.
On Sunday, they had the pregame ceremony for Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina's last home game. And Adam Wainwright was one of the speakers. And here's Adam Wainwright kind of looking back and referring. He talked about the magic of the season, what we were talking about a little bit earlier. And here's when he talked about Albert Pujols.
But he's also one of the best men and teammates that I've ever been around. And that's really what I came here to celebrate today. Albert, you're an amazing person, you're an amazing player, but you're one of the best teammates I've ever had, and a man that everybody should look up to for everything you do on and off the field.
I've never had the pleasure of meeting Albert Pujols. I've talked to and worked with many people who have. I have never had a person say a bad thing about Albert Pujols personally.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard a lot of admiration for him.
He's a good guy.
Well, and even like when you look at his personal faith, they say this is the real deal. This guy's sincere.
Oh, you can tell that.
Yeah, and when you look at, like, for instance, he has a very large nonprofit charitable organization that he doesn't use it to promote himself. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no question about that.
Yeah,
he doesn't really need it anymore, and he handles it the way that you're supposed to, with class and with dignity. And of course, Adam Wainwright talking about Yadier Molina. The last time he's going to pitch to Yadier Molina in a regular season game, that day. Now, he may pitch to him in the playoffs and maybe even at Busch Stadium, but for the last time in the regular season, here's what Waino had to say.
And next, my catch partner, Yadier Molina. I'm going to try not to cry. I don't think I'm going to do a very good job of it. I'm going to miss you the most. I'm not going to miss having wet shoes and wet pants from you pouring water bottles down my back when you're not playing. But I am going to miss playing catch with you every fifth day. I believe you're the best defensive catcher to ever live. And maybe tied with number 5, Albert Pujols, I believe you're the most clutch player that I've ever played with. And I think absolutely the smartest player that anyone's ever seen play this game.
That's true.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, it really is. When you look at the way that a catcher is supposed to run the field,
his instincts are so amazing. I don't care what position you play. I mean, you have instincts on every position, but even as catcher, he shows it. He could do it on any part of the field.
Oh, without a doubt. And some players could play on for a few more years, and they could put him at a different position to save his knees. But the reality is that Yadier Molina, after 19 seasons, is going out on top the way that you're supposed to when you're one of the best. He knows part of being one of the best is that they know when it's time to hand the torch over to somebody else, and they're not going out as people saying, "Well, remember what they used to be, but don't look at them now."
Yeah.
Look at them now. And by the way, City Hall has done something we can all agree with in St. Louis. Tomorrow, October 4th, For number 4, Yadier Molina is Yadier Molina Day in St. Louis.
Oh, really?
And then on the 5th, for number 5, Albert Pujols, it's Albert Pujols Day in the city of St. Louis.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that hopefully they will also do, we can agree on, is paying police officers more. They're going to consider that this coming week. I've got the details for you just ahead, right around 6:20 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Don't try to make me stop, no inspiration. You have a soul so dark, it is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war.
News, analysis, opinion.
I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Very quiet at the moment. They have already, however, closed the right lane southbound on 367 at Dunn Road for some construction work today. Otherwise, things are quiet. We don't have any issues on 70 headed through Cave Springs and Zumbell yet. Downtown, the bridge approaches look good. 270 in North County still clear. This report is sponsored by Chucky, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
When is a financial help show not just a financial help show? When it's Pocket Watching with JT, the caller-driven financial talk show focused on helping you get your money right. Jason Thornton is a certified financial planner licensed in both tax and investments. You get JT's real reaction to all your money and business questions. Plus, you get JT's take on all the latest financial news. This is not just another financial show. Pocket Watching with JT now every Friday night at 8 p.m. on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, Tim Jones here with Tony Colombo for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner at the Wallner Home Selling Team. If you're thinking about taking advantage of the market and selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now. Put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. Rodney and Jen have the experience and work ethic that sets them apart from all the rest. That's why they sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor and have so many qualified buyers right now. They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. The results, Tony, speak for themselves.
That's right, Tim. In fact, I recently benefited from those results personally. My wife and I couldn't be happier with the job the Wallners did for us, selling our old home in less than 2 days for significantly more than we were asking for and finding us the perfect new home. Like so many others, we loved working with Rodney and Jen, the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Start a podcast for your business today with Epic STL Podcasts. Engage existing and potential customers, build trust in your brand, and drive traffic to your business. Log on to NewstalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. I'm old enough to remember when we were warned of global cooling and a coming ice age in the 70s. In hindsight, it would appear the hype of that theory outkicked its coverage. By the late 80s, the concern had shifted to global warming, which in turn gave way to the now ubiquitous climate change. Skeptics have long questioned the science behind the alarmists' claims, particularly as said science so often smacks of the political variety rather than an objective, observational, evidence-based study of our world and the impacts we may have on it. Unfortunately, as with most issues these days, climate change has become yet another political football, with Team Blue and Team Red locked in an unending scrimmage, the fallout of which includes bad policy and silly online memes and quips. In the midst of a blizzard, or is that called bombogenesis these days, a skeptic might wryly remark on all the global warming falling from the sky. Don't confuse weather for climate, come the rapid retorts. Fair enough. While those two concepts are related, they are not one and the same. In the same vein, a hurricane walloping Florida, and even temporarily sucking water out of a bay, is not climate change. It's weather. Bad weather. and it too shall pass.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at NewstalkSTL.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
When they called me broken, I knew. When they called me over,
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the Morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
The week ahead. The first Monday of October means the Supreme Court starts its new term. Members of the public will be able to attend oral arguments, and the nation's High Court will continue its audio live stream it began at the start of the pandemic. Tuesday, if weather permits, 4 astronauts are set to launch to the International Space Station aboard a SpaceX Dragon capsule sent into space atop a Falcon 9 rocket. The 2 NASA astronauts will be joined by a Japan Aerospace Exploration astronaut and a Russian cosmonaut for a planned 6-month mission. Wednesday, OPEC and non-OPEC partners, the energy alliance known as OPEC Plus, is set to meet. The group recently moved to cut oil production targets by 100,000 barrels a day. Industry analysts say the alliance is expected to continue with its current oil production policy. Friday, more than half of those living in California will start seeing stimulus payments of between $200 and $1,050. And that's a look at your week ahead. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News.
I think it'd be a little bit awkward with the American astronaut and the Russian astronaut. They get up there right now.
I would think so.
So,
I mean, once I heard the Russian accent, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, that's right. We still have those deals, don't we?
Talk about soccer. Don't talk about Ukraine. Don't talk about oil. Don't talk about Nord Stream. Don't talk about any of that.
I don't know. I'm gonna go the other way on this one, and maybe the astronauts are in favor of the people who are protesting in the streets. I mean, there are hundreds of Russians that are being arrested for breaking their arms and not going to fight.
That's a long way to go to get away from Vladimir Putin.
That really is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they may be against, but the thing is, all those conversations are recorded.
Yeah. Yeah. We do not want to talk about this right now.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, by the way, real quick programming note, Joe Pag's show is on at 7 o'clock right here on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. And tonight, his guest is going to be none other than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Be on the program. So mark that on your calendars. Joe's got the former president on, and you know that anything could happen. anything could happen with Joe in the first place.
Yes.
But when you combine Joe Pags and Donald Trump, God only knows what is going to be said on that radio show tonight. So
yeah, but at least it'll be coherent.
It'll be coherent, exactly. And probably very, very high energy.
Mm-hmm.
There is a proposal. Well, there's a proposed resolution. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. There is a proposed resolution at City Hall to think about, possibly commit to, maybe sort of acknowledge that the city should pay police officers more than what they're getting paid right now.
What?
I know, exactly. Russell Kinsall from our news partners at KMOV had the story. I grabbed a couple of clips from it, and so what we're going to hear is one of the alderwomen who put the resolution. Now, this is just a resolution. It's not actually a pay raise ordinance, just that we agree that we're going to talk about it, and that's what they're going to talk about this week.
I would like to make a motion to place Resolution 113 in Public Safety Committee.
South City's 14th Ward Alderwoman Carol Ward sponsored the resolution.
We're really bleeding officers.
The St. Louis Police Department started the year with 1,128 commissioned employees. It's hired 71 new officers, but more are going than coming. 154 left the force. As of today, the city's seen a net loss of 83 officers, or a 7% drop. Many of the officers leaving are going to departments with better pay.
And I'll get to those numbers in just a moment, but this was interesting and kind of at the tail end of Russell's report.
The St. Louis Aldermanic non-binding resolution proposes a stipend to pay for uniforms and tax breaks for officers to live in the city.
And make them more inclined to stay here.
How to pay for it all is a discussion for later. The goal now is to keep the conversation on pay raises going. Russell Kinsall, News 4.
Okay, so what they're looking at is on Wednesday, again, like he said, a non-binding resolution that says we should pay police officers more in the city. And so just a little bit of numbers here. The starting salary for a St. Louis City police officer is $47,800 and change. By comparison now, in St. Louis County, it's just over $55,000.
Mm-hmm.
In Chesterfield, for the city police department there, $58,500 a year. St. Charles County, just barely higher, $58,800 a year. Jefferson County, $55,000. Belleville City, get this surprised me. $71,000 a year is how a starting salary for a police officer.
That's amazing.
$71,000 is a good salary.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a really, really good salary. I mean, you're not doing bad with $47,800. Don't get me wrong. In the Midwest, in St. Louis, you're not doing bad. But in your 50s and 60s and 70s, that's pretty good stuff. But the bottom line is that if you're a police officer, and a lot of these other agencies will take your seniority. So if you've got 10 years in St. Louis City, and you go to Belleville, you're going to move in as though you'd been there for 10 years for your pay and benefits and things like that.
We went to my brother's birthday party this weekend at Milo's in the city, and I talked to a few cops. And I'm not going to give names or anything like that, but they were saying that not only the pay, but the way they're being treated. They're being treated very negatively in certain circles, and they're leaving. One person said that I estimate that there's going to be record numbers leaving.
I would not be surprised at that at all. I mean, because this is the reason that we fight to win over hearts, minds, and yes, votes. But this is what happens when you have leftist extremist ideology running your government. This is the practical effect. It's not just that they think and say things we don't like. It's not that we disagree with them at a coffee shop.
No.
It is about these are the tangible results. And of course, Russell Kinsall was saying, they still, if they were to approve this non-binding resolution, which could eventually come up to a conversation about whether we should pay officers more. And he says, did you notice he said how they would pay for it is still yet to be determined. Start with the $1 million plus or $1.5 million that were set aside to help women go get abortions in Illinois.
Yep.
How about we start with crap like that?
Well, and also, when these guys work their butts off investigating crime, and then they arrest people, and they do all of the work that they need to do, and then they turn around and see that person on the street again because they didn't get incarcerated.
Right, prosecuted, yeah.
Prosecuted, yeah.
Yeah, what's happening is policy matters. Yes, I know we tend to get caught up in politics, and they're related, but they're not the exact same thing. And this is the ideological battle, which turns into battle for votes, and then somebody gets to spike the football on somebody else on an election day. But what we're talking about is St. Louis is more violent and less safe because the fringe leftist thinking is in control and is entrenched. That's why everything we do here matters.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Exactly.
And this is why we have to win over people in the city in addition to everywhere else. I mean, this is why it's not just about the coffee clutch talk in philosophy club. People are less safe, people get hurt, people die because of bad policies, and St. Louis City Hall has terrible policies towards its police department. Now, when police get out of line, They need to be held accountable
Of
just
course.
like everybody else. And I don't think a good police officer would object to my saying that.
Not at all.
Everybody else.
No, they shouldn't.
Bad police officers might.
Yeah.
And there are some.
But we got to
over-
get those guys.
But they're few and far between.
Few and far, I believe that. Yep, few and far between. But this is why that matters. All right, just ahead here, Ukraine. We have not talked about Ukraine in a while. Russia is losing ground in some areas. This is really, really significant. And yes, it does affect us. I've got the updates for you starting around 6:34 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
The news and talk.
Inflation remains well above 2%.
We do expect we're going to be in for tougher times ahead.
That matters to St. Louis.
Raised interest rate by 0.75 percentage point.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. The Scott Joplin house will be closed indefinitely after someone broke in yesterday morning, leaving behind major damage. The deputy director from Missouri State Parks says people walking by saw someone throwing things out of the second-story window of the home and called the police. Preservationists of the historic Greenwood Cemetery in Hillsdale are assessing widespread damage after vandals toppled gravestones, lit fires, and smashed benches. At least 36 headstones were toppled over the past week at Greenwood, the first commercial cemetery for Black people in the St. Louis area. Illinois State Police are looking for help identifying a semi-truck driver who struck and killed a woman alongside Interstate 55 near Cahokia Mound Saturday night. The woman was getting into her disabled vehicle parked on the right shoulder when she was struck by the truck driver, who then fled the scene. And in sports, the Cardinals fell to the Pirates 7-5 at Busch last night. Albert Pujols hit his 702nd home run and tied Babe Ruth for second on the all-time career RBI list. The next three Cards-Pirates games will be played in Pittsburgh and will wrap up the regular season. Tonight's game starts at 5:35 p.m. And Mayor Tashara Jones officially proclaimed that this Tuesday, October 4th, will be Yadier Molina Day, and Wednesday, October 5th, will be Albert Pujols Day in the city of St. Louis. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Crews are preparing to shut down the ramp from West Florissant to eastbound 270. That's a permanent closure. The new ramp is going to be located on Pershaw between Washington, Elizabeth, and West Florissant. That's how you will access eastbound 270. Or you can also go to the old Halls Ferry ramp to East 270. I'm Joe Sonderman. That's the very latest from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Clear skies and cool temperatures in the low 50s in St. Louis this morning. Lots of sunshine on tap again today. Slightly cooler than yesterday's 79. We're up to about 76 this afternoon. Cooler tonight with a low in the 40s and a high on Tuesday with partly cloudy skies of about 77 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Colombo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
Hi, Sean Long for STL FenceWorks. For over 50 years, our time-honored commitment to quality, service, and affordability make STL FenceWorks the go-to authority for fence, deck, and leisure space projects. During these unsure times of severe inflation and supply shortages, you can depend on STL FenceWorks to meet your needs. Being the #1 fence and deck contractor in the state, we've leveraged our position to make contract buy-ins hedging against price increases. Also, our buying power has allowed us to stockpile fence and deck material. There are no shortages at STL FenceWorks. In fact, we have more fence and deck material on hand now than we have had at any time in our 50-year history. Lastly, our commitment to a quality and customer-first approach has never wavered. Your project will be completed by experienced craftsmen in a timely manner, and our lifetime warranty reinforces that commitment. STL FenceWorks warranty surpasses anything offered in the industry. Visit STLFenceWorks.com and allow us to bring your backyard dreams to life. As always, at STL FenceWorks, your satisfaction is our passion.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Tim here. Monday, we've got Jim Talon at 425 on Russian annexation. Susie Moore of Red State at 525 with Paul Kurtman and more.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
It's been out of the headlines. I mean, it's in there. You go to the cable websites, Fox News, places like that, MSNBC, NBC. But when it comes to local news in a lot of places, you don't hear a lot about Ukraine anymore. We used to have our conversations dominated by Russia invading Ukraine. And we recognized at the time how dangerous this is, not just for Ukraine. I mean, there's obviously a humanitarian situation there, but how this is a matter of you have to contain somebody like Vladimir Putin. We'll get to that here in about a minute or so. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:36. That's Gabe Fife over there. Hi,
hey.
That's Ken Williams there as well. By the way, we've got the Freedom Fest barbecue coming up this Sunday. Okay, this Sunday. So if you have not got your tickets yet, go ahead and get them. They still have some available because apparently they have a lot of people just walk up. With this being an election year and Eric Schmidt being the main one of the main speakers who's going to be at that. I mean, Ann Wagner's going to be there, and Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft's going to be there. A lot of state representative office holders and candidates are going to be there. It's really going to be a lot of fun. Kind of a conservative. I mean, conservatives and barbecue. I mean, hey, come on, you don't get much better than that. So go to NewstalkSTL.com. Go to STLYRS.com. Just go ahead and reserve your tickets. Just go ahead and get it. Make sure that you're there. They are going to have a great time. 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. This coming Sunday, you definitely want to be there. Tim Jones and Chris Arps are emceeing the event from our afternoon show. And you may or may not, you may just run into some other of your favorite News Talk STL personalities as well.
And
just
in the meantime, there's Super Smokers, I believe it is, who's providing the food. So get there early.
Yeah, so that's what that's what the ticket gets you, in addition to helping a lot of conservative work that's being done. Okay, so Ukraine is regaining some of their territory that Russia claims that they have annexed. Of course, Russia says we've reclaimed it, which it's not theirs.
Yeah.
Fox News' Trey Yingst has some of the details. He's in Kyiv in Ukraine.
Ukrainian troops are making fresh territorial gains in the east as the war grinds on, and the threat of nuclear weapons remains on the table. Heavy fighting continues in Bakhmut as Ukrainian soldiers hold their positions. Russian forces have focused their efforts on the small town in recent weeks, while the civilian population tries to evacuate. Russian President Putin claims the people living here are now Russian citizens, though his troops relentlessly shell their roads and villages. Civilians in eastern Ukraine are paying the highest price amid the conflict. This weekend, another humanitarian convoy was hit by Russian fire, killing at least 24 people, including 13 children.
Can you imagine the hell these people are going through?
It's crazy.
I mean, we can't really relate to that here in the United States.
No.
Nor should we, actually. But the fact that Putin is saying the things he's saying and trying to cover, kind of like our media does once in a while, about how things really are and they're not, is telling in and of itself. Because he's saying that, no, they are Russians now, and they're not.
Yeah,
they're
basically,
really not.
We've taken military control, therefore you belong to us. Of course, this is sort of a manifest destiny, perverse manifest destiny that Putin's been trying to do, to say these are all part of Russia. We're reclaiming it, basically trying to reassemble the old Soviet Union and do it by force with people who don't want to be Russians. And so we're not annexing them. He's basically conquering and then claiming them as their own.
And just because you post flags on all of the balconies of Russia doesn't mean that they're Russian.
Right. Yeah. And
Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba, he was, in responding to this, he's like, he's attempting to annex Ukrainian areas that he doesn't even necessarily physically control,
right?
Because these are areas still of heavy fighting. So it's a very interesting move. I think it's more of a propaganda move.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He recently I think a patriotic sort of pop concert that they had in Red Square, and he spoke there, just claiming it's like we will be victorious and all these other things, to a cheering crowd, obviously.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a Red Square in front of Vladimir Putin, you cheer when he wants you to cheer.
Dangerous to not cheer for him.
Yeah, exactly.
They're watching.
So I think there's a lot of internal stuff going on over there as well. So I'm really curious. We're not gonna find out right now like how all the internal stuff was working out, but I imagine there's a lot of stuff going over there too.
Yeah, and there is more aid from the U.S. heading to Ukraine as well. Fox News' Ryan Schmelz has that update.
After announcing another $1 billion arms package last week, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the administration will have another announcement of immediate security assistance for Ukraine this week as the country continues to battle Russian aggression. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Yeah, and this is something that everybody was generally on board with, and then suddenly there was a turn, particularly among Republicans and conservatives. It was almost like whiplash. Suddenly it's like, we support the Ukrainian people, now screw the Ukrainian people.
Well, here, I've always maintained my stance is I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know if there's money laundering going over there. I know there's an awful lot of money going over there from our tax dollars, and I want to know exactly every dollar where it's going. Billions are going over there.
During a war, you want to know that?
Yes, I want to know where the money's going.
Okay.
I think part of the problem is that Ukraine is notoriously corrupt. You know, so the thing is, when we've sent money over there prior to the war, and it's kind of disappeared, and it's kind of gone into people's pockets and different things like that. But at the same time, we do want to support the military effort.
We absolutely should be supporting it,
and absolutely we want to support the humanitarian effort, if nothing else. My goodness. So the thing is, it's how do you straddle the line between the fiscal responsibility aspect of keeping track of our money and making sure that it's not just going into some oligarch's pocket, as well as the fact that we're in deep financial doo-doo ourselves, as well as the humanitarian and the geopolitical position that we want to support Ukraine. How do you straddle that?
Bill O'Reilly's got some thoughts on it.
Okay.
Now, Ukraine also got $3 billion more. $14 billion going over to Ukraine. We don't have any, once that money gets into Kyiv, we don't know where it goes. We don't know how it's spent. But that's every bit of foreign aid. Nobody knows. They say, yes, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but who knows? The United States does not audit that. So $14 billion, some conservatives are jumping up and down screaming. I think it's a good investment. This war has weakened Putin. Believe me, it has weakened this man. And he is a tyrant. He is a warmonger. And China is watching this. Putin is not winning Ukraine. He's not winning anything. Okay? They blew up this poor girl, the daughter of one of its cronies, the other day. This is going to go on forever. Putin is now diminished forever. So if we have to spend $14 billion to hurry that along, good.
I agree.
It's not just 14, though. That's the problem I'm having. We need an audit. Yes, we do need an audit. We need to find out every dollar that's going over there.
It's impossible.
No, it's not impossible.
It's absolutely
no,
impossible.
it's not impossible.
Completely impossible.
No, it's not because
that's insane.
because you can take a bill. Oh, okay, $1 billion. That $1 billion that's lost. It kind of evaporated.
You've got to move money so fast during a war. It's impossible to do that audit. But here's the thing.
It's also easy to pass that money along to launderers and all kinds of other people from the labs that they have over there. I've heard so many different stories. I don't even know what's true.
And missiles.
That's
they don't
fine.
need lab stuff.
And you know what? That's fine if that's where it's going, but I want to know where it's going.
So
that's
you
it.
Spend money on audits when they need bullets to hold Russia
No,
back.
you don't need to spend a lot of money on audits. Just have people over there saying, okay, this goes here, this goes here. Why do you have this money? Let's find out.
Here's the thing.
It's our money.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Putin doesn't stop at Ukraine if he conquers there. Do you want our military force? I'm not done. Stop. Do you want to get into a hot war with our people there, or are we going to pay for a proxy war? And I think Bill O'Reilly's right.
Both.
I think that I don't want our people over there. I'm
not saying that.
Yeah.
No, you can do both, Mike. You can audit and you can give them money. But I want to know where it is. I want to know what we're just throwing money over there. Just here, you want another $12 billion? There you go.
And they're pushing Putin back. It's doing what we want it to do.
But I don't. Okay, and maybe $5 billion of that is doing it. I don't know. Maybe all 12 is. But I want to know everything that's over there. We have people. We have veterans that aren't able to get health care right now here in this country. We got homeless people that are veterans.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But that money could be going to them. It's not.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, but there's all sorts of areas you can pull from that. There's probably hundreds of billions of dollars in other wasteful domestic spending. Foreign spending and domestic spending are two completely different things.
I totally agree with you.
Different buckets.
I totally agree with you, Mike. But the problem is $12 billion goes over, $40 billion goes over there. All this different money goes over there. That's fine. If it's going, every dollar is going to the effort, that's great. But I don't believe it, and I want to see it.
Yeah. I don't care.
I'm glad you don't. But I do.
I really don't.
I do.
I mean, you've got to stop tyrants like Putin.
You do.
And I am not, this is the area where you want to be an interventionist? No. But you have to stop because he doesn't stop there.
I'm not saying don't stop him, Mike. I'm saying that I want to know where the money is.
314-912-1019. It's flying into Russian skulls is where it's going.
Not all of it.
Yeah, it could be. It's not worth it.
It may not be.
Yep. 314-912-1019. This is 1019, 94.1 News Talk STL.
No one knows about. It says it used to be a farm before the motor law.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Starting to pick up a lot of slow traffic, 55 north running up through Weber and Virginia in the construction zone. Southbound 367 at Dunn. They've got the left lane closed for road work already this morning. Highway 30 at New Sugar Creek. Don't have a direction, but crews did roll for an injury crash a few minutes ago. And the ramp from West Florissant to eastbound 270 is now closed. You'll have to use the new ramp, which is from Pershall between Washington, Elizabeth, and West Florissant. I'm Joe Sonderman. That's the very latest Total Traffic, sponsored by InvisibleFence.com. Invisible Fence brand's mission is to keep pets happy and safe with their forever families. Their exclusive technologies make their containment systems the most advanced on the market, giving your pet freedom to enjoy their yard and you confidence in their safety. Visit InvisibleFence.com to schedule your free consultation. From the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Newstalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Senator Jim Talent.
We live in an age where saying common sense things is considered to be controversial or even revolutionary. Like, we need oil and gas. Yeah, I think we do. Or maybe we shouldn't shut down the schools. Maybe it's not a really great idea when troubled teenagers come in and just to rush to pump them full of drugs.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on Newstalk STL. So many ways to listen to Newstalk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play Newstalk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Did you guys note in that national story at one of our information segments that OPEC and OPEC Plus, which is the premium subscription, OPEC? No.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
They're actually talking.
Is there really OPEC?
There is an OPEC Plus, but it's like
basically
you're
just
not
a couple of extra nations that aren't quite in the club, but they're sort of in the club.
Oh,
It's
funny.
like you're not in OPEC, but we can you can be an associate.
You're friends with OPEC.
It's like you're not a good fella, but you're one of the.
You're not a made man. You're a
right
that guy.
So
go get my coffee.
OPEC is going to be considering cutting oil production because of they say they want to adjust for market conditions. Basically, the high prices has resulted in demand going down, so they want to cut production in order to try to bring prices back up to
even it out a little bit.
But remember, the high prices are because of obviously a variety of things, but including really crappy policy as well. So, reason I bring this up at 7:05. This is an interesting conversation. 7:05. One state, in this case, it's New Jersey, is proposing a law that would force discount retailers to not only keep their discount for their members, that they would have to offer discounted prices to the general public because they say oil is a commodity and a public good, even though it's completely in the private sector, other than obviously some international stuff. But it's an interesting conversation. I've got the Fox News report on it. But basically, they're saying, no, you can't let just some people have a discount because they decide to join your club. You got to open that up to everybody, whether they join your club or not. But the bottom line is because oil and gas is a national public good and public commodity. That's their argument.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. And because to me, we talk about this, and then I would say, okay, well, then what's next?
That's usually the question. It's like, okay, what's going on here?
And then you get 3-4 steps down the road, and you're like, wait a minute, why does government control everything?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand that. Then you get the high tech market where it's all private, and nobody should tread on those waters at all,
unless it's a public good.
Well, but it can't be because it's privately owned. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, 314-912-1019.
That slope is slippery.
It happened.
It really is.
So 7:05. We'll get into it because this is. I read the story and had to read it twice, and I'm thinking this is really interesting because it's not about gasoline and discounts. It's about something much bigger than that, and it's something that you see the mindset. And I would say on the left, but sometimes you see it a few more, populist types. right of center too that are okay with this kind of government intervention. So 7:05, we'll get the whole story and get your thoughts on that as well. All right. So my wife says, "Hey, we got to run up to Menards to pick something up. You want to go?" Which means you're going. That's what that means in wife talk. So yeah, that's great. It's fine. We drive up to Menards to pick up the thing that she ordered, and we're walking out. And what do I see? A whole section of the store with Christmas decorations.
Oh, come on. Come on.
It's too early, people.
It's way too early.
You know what?
It's October.
I know, but the problem is
not even Halloween, much less Thanksgiving.
Barely got cold.
I get what you're saying. I mean, I agree with that in theory, but the problem is that if they don't put it out now, it's just they don't put out enough is the problem I'm having. So you gotta put it out early, I guess.
No,
I don't know.
I totally disagree.
I know. Me too.
I'm with Gabe.
I know, but you know what? I like Halloween stuff. They didn't. Yeah. Did they have Halloween stuff up?
They did, but they had more Christmas stuff than Halloween stuff. Now, Halloween stuff was cooler. They had like the giant lawn monster decorations, and one of them, I swear, was 20 feet tall. It was like a tall, like Grim Reaper thing.
I saw a Home Depot, like they had a gigantic sort of ceramic dragon, or not ceramic, but like a molded plastic dragon that you could put in your front yard. It's huge. That was last year, so I'm wondering what kind of cool stuff they got.
Normally I would say you have to have a mansion to have something like that. Nah.
It's Home Depot. No. I can afford it.
I got it.
There's a house that's not on our street, but if you turn right off our street and go right down the road, so it's our neighborhood, that they go all out for Halloween. And when we drove by, I noticed they were already putting the stuff out. I mean, it's like haunted house. I mean, their entire yard is skeletons and gravestones and smokes and the smoke and fog and everything. I mean, they go way all out.
It's October.
Right. Now you can do that.
That's Halloween time, right?
I mean,
I got you. I was trying to make an argument. It failed, but
he's like, I don't really believe this. So
I was just trying to say that because here's my problem with Christmas ornaments in general is they're not putting out enough these days. I'm saying,
you mean when Christmas time rolls around, the supply is low?
Yeah. I tried to go out and get lights last year, and I went to Home Depot, and it was nothing. I went to Lowe's, nothing there. They sold it all probably, but I mean,
you had some supply chain stuff probably. Last
year.
Actually, that could have been.
Yeah,
too,
to be fair, we had all kinds of issues back then.
I'm one of those who says, you know what, get through Thanksgiving, then do your Christmas stuff.
Yes.
I'll even give you a few days. I'll spot you a few days before Thanksgiving. Okay.
Yes.
But here's the thing: the radio stations that start playing Christmas music in beginning of November, and I think there's a war to start it soon enough. Stop it. The time to start listening to Christmas music is right around December 23rd.
Now that's a battle.
Hey,
they're a battle.
No,
there's a St. Louis
bad,
battle.
Mike, bad.
There is a battle on that thing, and there are two reasons why radio stations do that. One is to be the Christmas radio station, be owning it.
Right.
But the other one is
market share.
Yeah. But the other reason is if they're going to change the format. So if a station starts playing Christmas music and they've never done it before, you better watch out on that station.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. See, no, Christmas music is supposed to be the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
the day after.
I can live with
Thanksgiving is Christmas season, right?
Okay.
So you got October 1st is Halloween season.
Well, Oktoberfest. You got to kind of celebrate that.
Yeah. Well, Oktoberfest and Halloween. Yes.
Okay.
Of October 1st. So you have all your German beer gear as well as your costumes and your skeletons and whatnot.
Right.
November 1st, Thanksgiving.
Boom.
The day after Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Boom.
As of New Year's, put your dang stuff away.
Thank you.
Unless, of course, you're like me and you were traveling and it got really cold and you couldn't get up on the ladder to get the lights.
Everybody has an excuse.
Everybody else, get your stuff. I'm a busy guy.
Tomorrow, I my lights up and be like, "Oh no, man, it was too cold."
I started my mini rant in the store. There were other customers who were like, "We're with you.
Yep,
you're not wrong." Mm-hmm. I have a feeling even the Menards employees were like, "We get it." But the boss told us to put it out. It was like putting their little winter wonderland. And it was 78 degrees in early October.
Crazy, man.
All right, is gasoline and oil, is that a public commodity, a public good that the government should regulate and make private entities provide at discount prices?
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-649-8619. 800-649-8619. 800-649-8619. That's 800-649-8619.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Kurtman, host of the Paul Kurtman Show on Newstalk STL, but I'm also the president of PR Kurtman Investments. The market is down and inflation is up. So if you have questions about the investments in your portfolio, please let me help. Just send me an email by visiting freedomportfolios.com. There's no cost. The market might be uncertain, but that doesn't mean you should be too. Contact me today, Paul Kurtman, by visiting freedomportfolios.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
They need. Also on Meet the Press, FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell.
I want to get down on the ground, see for myself what the impacts are, and talk to people and hear what they're struggling with and what they think their needs are going to be.
I'm Shelley Adler.
And in the wake of Ian's devastation, Town Hall News and our companion network SRN News partnering with Christian nonprofit relief agency Food for the Poor to send emergency supplies to the victims in Florida and the Carolinas. There's more information at the website srnnews.com. Brazil's presidential election heading for a runoff after incumbent Jair Bolsonaro made a surprisingly strong showing against his socialist challenger.
The most trusted opinion polls had indicated leftist former President Lula da Silva was far out front and potentially even clinching a first-round victory. One prominent pre-election poll gave da Silva a 14 percentage point lead. In the end, Bolsonaro surprised to the upside and came within just 5 points. He'll face da Silva in a high-stakes October 30 presidential runoff. Political analyst Arilton Ferreira says this is a big defeat for the Democratic Center that saw its voters migrate to Bolsonaro in a polarized scenario. Lula starts ahead, but it now won't be easy for him. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
On Wall Street, Dow futures up 176 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 19. More on these stories at townhall.com.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer. Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com.
In Melville, 314-794-6464.
10-year-old George Haruza and his parents, with only what they could carry in a suitcase, made a daring escape from behind the Iron Curtain of communism. George Haruza and his family risked their lives fleeing communist oppression to secure the freedom and promise of America. George Haruza quickly learned English, studied hard, and worked harder. Overcoming every hurdle in his way, George Haruza is now a world-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader.
So I do believe in a limited government. Governments should provide for the people who are really in need, encourage everybody else to rise up to their potential, and then mostly get out of the way.
Now, George Haruza wants to bring his record of getting good things done to the state Senate, and George Haruza understands the mission. George Haruza for State Senate, a record of getting good things done. Paid for by Haruza for Missouri.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Listen to this noise coming out of the White House.
Live and local.
We need to get the message to people who are not being helped by Democrats.
Ron DeSantis showed people the back of his hand.
This is News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! This is your cousin
Today's show is brought to you by the first week of October, that special time of year when they jam pumpkin spice into every conceivable food and beverage.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's about right.
Yes.
That is right.
As
right.
I have pumpkin spice flavoring in my coffee.
I am not making this up when I saw a story this morning that said Hefty is now, they offered pumpkin spice scented trash bags, and many stores sold out. It's now going on like eBay and Facebook marketplaces for well over retail price. Trash bags.
I missed
trash
it.
bags.
Yeah. I don't mind, pumpkin spice is good.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
I had Cheerios that were like that last year, and I decided, okay, it's a little too far.
Okay.
But otherwise, I like the scent.
AKA nutmeg.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like pumpkin spice everything now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
All right. Is gasoline a public good that government should force private businesses to sell at certain prices? We'll get to that in about 60 seconds. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 7:07. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here. At 7:20, the numbers regarding illegal immigration in this country are just staggering. We've heard the numbers as far as how many people that have just simply walked in and said, "Hi, I'm here. Give me stuff." Those numbers are overwhelming enough, but how about the ones that actually didn't want to say hi to law enforcement and ran off, what they call gotaways? That number staggering as well. I'll tell you about that around 6:20 or so, or excuse me, 7:20. 7:35, what a great weekend at Busch Stadium, especially if you were there for one or both of the games. I was at Saturday's game. I've got some of the clips of Yachty's speech and Albert Pujols' speech. What a special time for the entire city of St. Louis. So we'll do a review of that as well. All right. Interesting development in New Jersey, of all places. So, Costco, Sam's Club, places like that. A lot of them have gas stations now. I know like the Sam's Club that's near me, which is on Brentwood Boulevard. They've got a gas station out there, Sam's Club. And if you're a member, then you can go buy gas there and you get a little bit of a discount. It's a little bit cheaper than other places because you have that. Well, in New Jersey, the government's like, whoa, what do you mean some people are getting a break on gas prices? That's not fair. So Costco, selling discounted gas prices to members has created a controversy. Well, it didn't, but the government did, because there's a proposal in the New Jersey state legislature to force the company to sell it to the masses at the same price. Fox News' Sue Guzman has the report.
Costco used to allow everyone in the Garden State to buy gas at their discount prices. Many people taking advantage of the savings earlier this year as gas prices were skyrocketing, but Costco ended that 18-year arrangement in July. So now Costco only sells gas to members who pay $60 for membership. Now, 2 state lawmakers want to change that, saying gas is a public commodity, proposing legislation that would require all membership clubs in New Jersey to open up their discounted gasoline to all Garden State residents, not just paid members. State officials saying there is no consumer law preventing Costco from holding such a members-only policy. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
Okay, first of all, it's $5 a month is what adds up to $60 a year for a membership.
Yeah.
1 tank of gas with whatever they discount is likely going to cover your $5 a month.
Yeah.
And so you fill up, say, 3 times a month, 4 times a month, you're more than making it back, even with a 25 or 50 cent discount on the gas or whatever it actually is. Secondly, Costco bought the gas at the same wholesale price as everybody else. If they want to give their members a discount, that's not the government's business.
That's how that works. It boggles the mind how easily people slip into the, you know what, we ought to make a rule.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they go so easily.
Do something.
Do something. Hey, look, people, I did something for you. You know what? Stop helping me because you're not actually helping.
Okay,
me.
so let me let me introduce Mike the Liberal.
Okay,
and I'm going to push back against you as Mike the Liberal. Let me get my scarf that's wrapped around here.
All right, Mickey.
My beanie cap and my.
You want some hair paint?
Yeah, exactly. All that. So I'm going to say, excuse me. I'm Mike the Liberal now. It's not fair that some people can buy it cheaper than others. And if you can afford a Costco membership and some people can't, and they shouldn't be forced to pay more for gas, then, see, I'm remembering Mike the Liberal here. They do it. And anything government could do to bring down the cost of living is what they should do. So this is helping people. Why do you not want to help people, Gabe?
Oh,
again, that's Mike the Liberal.
Oh, I have plenty of things that the government could do to bring down the cost of living. If that's where you want to go. I mean, because one thing they could do is stop spending so much money trying to bring down the cost of living,
and
because that's actually doing the opposite.
Why do you hate the children, Gabe?
I love children. They just keep them over there. Sorry.
You're racist.
Yes. So you know what? I'm just going to completely deflate every single argument. Like, yeah, I am, sure.
But the argument that I want to give you a discount, therefore I'm going to tell this guy how he should manage his business.
Yeah. It's just, what's to stop the government then? If the government can simply declare anything a public interest, a public good, what's to stop them from simply making that declaration on anything else? Oh, you sell, premium vegan hamburgers or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know what? Those vegan hamburgers are so much more expensive than regular hamburgers. And I think it's within the public good that people eat more vegan meats than regular meats because of climate change.
Or milk.
Right. Yeah, or milk. Or whatever.
Diapers, whatever.
Yeah. So I think, as the government, you must be forced to price it the same as the commodity that you're trying to compete against. So even though it's more expensive to produce vegan meat, I think you should sell it at the same rate as meat.
Costco would love to sell everybody the discounted gas because they want everybody to buy the memberships and then go inside and buy more stuff from them.
Exactly.
Well, then that's their prerogative. And it's interesting, how the left has this daily hypocrisy. I mean, they really are. They're hypocrites to the highest level that you could possibly be, because they say that, when you have these high-tech companies saying, well, we want to stifle speech. Well, they're private owners. They can do whatever they want. Well, then why can't Costco or Sam's Club do whatever they want?
Right.
It's a private business.
And in the end, they argue on both sides. It's like, well, we're protecting the public. In one case, it's misinformation or hate speech. Well, what's hate speech? Whatever you disagree with is hate speech to those on the left and some on the right.
It's always who determines what misinformation and disinformation is.
In this case right here, Costco's saying, yeah, we'd love to sell you discounted gas. It's $60 or the equivalent of $5 a month.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you go into one of these discount clubs like Costco or Sam's or whatever, you will save more. You're buying in bulk. I mean, it's not like your bill is less, but you get more stuff for it. And so it's called the free market. So instead of basically trying to force businesses to adjust to the government determined need, what they should be doing is adjusting to the signals of the market.
There you go. Because the market is where people are actually making their decisions. That's one thing that the government, or I should say, the proponents of government control of everything, what they always discount is that basically capitalism is democratic economics. Right? It's where individuals making their individual choices, they're voting with their feet and their money. They get to determine where the money goes, where the production comes from, where, what the priorities of the business people are. They do so every single day as consumers. And when the government tries to step in and make adjustments to the prices, which are the results of the decisions of the individuals, they're basically trying to rig the ballot box, as it were, the economic ballot box that the people are voting for every time they use their money.
Yeah. All right, 314-912-1019, because the danger here isn't that somebody might get, a quarter off of a gallon of gas. That's a good thing, obviously.
Sure.
It's what else gets to be declared a public good that's actually in the private marketplace.
Food would absolutely be next.
And that is what happens. That's how government creep happens. And then suddenly you look around and go, wait a minute. How did government end up controlling everything?
And that's my biggest problem with all of it.
314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
I've had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that now? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your curtain call. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Just had a crash come in, 70 westbound at Grand. Pumpers on the scene, right lane closed. 55 north, picking up heavy traffic, Weber up through Virginia. 367 southbound at Dunn. They already have the left lane closed for road work this morning. This report is sponsored by USA and Sci-Fi. I'm Joe Sonderman. That's the very latest total traffic.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
If you are on Medicare, you need to listen to this message. Open enrollment for all Medicare participants starts October 15th. This is a very critical time of the year for you to make needed changes to your plan.
This is Mike Butts with MB Health Insurance Agency. Regardless if you are new or renewing your health insurance, the process can be confusing and very time-consuming. MB Health is local here in St. Louis, and we will handle your enrollment quickly, properly, and effectively. Find us on the web at mbhealth.com.
MB Health can also help small businesses find the perfect medical coverage for their employees. That's mbhealth.com.
What a great meeting. I loved everything he said. I think we've found our new financial advisor.
I hated him.
What? Why?
He never even looked at me.
It's a story that's been repeated over and over in the financial industry. And it's the reason Deanna Orff at the All Financial Group is so passionate to change it. That's why on October 18th, she's hosting an exclusive women's event called Women in Wealth. It's an open forum for you to learn more about markets, investing, and planning for retirement, and a setting where you can ask questions. It's a fact that 90% of women will at some point be solely responsible for their finances. This could be a great first step. The Women in Wealth event on October 18th. It's free, but you do need to make a reservation. So call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory services offered through All Financial Group LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri License 8039738.
Hey, Columbo here, and many of you know that one of my favorite things to do when I have some free time is to get out on the water and go fishing. And the folks at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton are the people you should see before your next fishing trip. No matter what you're fishing for, they have everything you need, from gear to lures to live bait. Plus, they can even set you up on a guided fishing tour on the Mississippi River. Make sure the tackle box is ready for your next trip by visiting Bluff City Outdoors at 2813 East Broadway in Alton and BluffCityOutdoors.com.
Fox News commentary.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, Governor Ron DeSantis issues a warning to those looking to take advantage. Get ready to applaud America's governor. Next.
Businesses don't run on automation or algorithms alone. What powers businesses are your people and the people they serve. At Cintas, your dedicated service reps understand what you need to help you keep your employees feeling safe, comfortable, and performing their best. So your business can too. For workwear, essential cleaning products, first aid and safety supplies, and fire protection services, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
In the aftermath of catastrophic weather events, some use the destruction, disarray, and instability to take advantage of stores, businesses, and homes, but not on Governor Ron DeSantis' watch. In a press conference, he made it very clear, you will not get away with looting in the state of Florida. DeSantis warned that law enforcement is on high alert and for good measure, reminded folks that Florida is a Second Amendment state. The Lee County Sheriff echoed the governor, saying there will be zero tolerance for those looking to take advantage of others. You will be hunted down and you will go to jail. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what leadership looks and sounds like. Imagine if that was a sentiment delivered during the Summer of Love 2020 riot season. No looting will be tolerated, no destruction, no violence. That would have been nice, right? Governor DeSantis has proven time and time again he is America's governor in Florida. You should be proud. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Were you at one of the games this weekend honoring Yachty, honoring Albert? Oh, man, 7:35. Let's relive some of that. I've got some parts of the different speeches from the ceremony. Just cool stuff. Baseball fan or not, man, this was like quintessential St. Louis. So 7:35. Let's get into that and have a little bit of fun with it. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 7:22. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Ken Williams here at 8:05. There's obviously a huge amount of news still coming out of Florida as they try to recover not just property, but tragically people as well. There are several specially trained volunteers from the St. Louis region in Florida now working, and we're going to talk to our friends at the Red Cross at 8:05 to get an update on what St. Louis is doing, St. Louisans are doing to help bring disaster relief to the people affected by the hurricane in Florida. Let me just put it this way, what we're doing to help our fellow Americans, because that's the way we should be thinking when something like this happens. Just throw the politics into the poop can and be done with it for a little bit and just focus on making sure that we can do whatever we can to help others. So we'll talk to them at 8:05 on that. All right. We hear a lot about, obviously, the border. The Biden administration does not want us to talk a lot about the border this close to an election because, man, 5 weeks away from the election. 5 weeks. Tomorrow, it will be 5 weeks away from the election. So 30 some odd days now at this point that we are that we're going to be deciding our next senators, and Illinois is going to be deciding a governor and everything else in between. By the way, Mark Mantovani is going to be on the show tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
7:35. Mark's going to be back on the program making his case to become the next county executive in St. Louis County. Very, very important election there. But Republican governors of border states, as we know, have been sending illegals to different sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. New York City is bracing. I mean, they're bracing. They're like setting up tent cities with fences around them, interestingly enough.
Fences work.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
To prepare for potentially thousands of illegals being bussed into their city. Of course, the Republican governors are being criticized for that, but I don't think criticized really by more than just liberal talking points and liberals who don't like the fact that they're being forced and they're being confronted with with their policies. So here's what's going on. Eagle Pass Mayor Yolanda Ramon says that the illegals are not being lied when they're being bussed away. She says they don't want to stay at the border and sometimes don't even know where they are, saying they'll ask how far is San Antonio or how far is Houston or how far is New York. But a shocking new number, that's just the people that we know about, that the Border Patrol actually knows about. Shocking number confirms how many illegals are getting past U.S. Border Patrol. Fox News' Matt Finn has the details and the numbers.
It was a busy week here at the border. Just about every single day, we saw large groups of migrants crossing into the United States. And most of the groups are men, women, and oftentimes we see very young children. And Fox News has also just confirmed with U.S. Customs and Border Protection that there were 600,000 gotaways in the fiscal year that just ended in 2022. Gotaways are illegal migrants that are considered a concern because they do not surrender. They do not want to be seen. They intentionally evade law enforcement. Now, for comparison, former U.S. Border Patrol Chief Rodney Scott tells our Bill Malusian that in 2020, that fiscal year, there was only 70,000 gotaways.
600,000 illegal immigrants total would be a failure to secure the border. That's 600,000 that we know got past our Border Patrol and law enforcement, and we don't know who they are, and we don't know where they are, and we don't know what they're doing. That's in addition to the millions of illegal immigrants that are either caught or simply walk up and say, I got past the border. I win. Where's my free stuff? Oh, by the way, I'm, what's the word? Refugee. I want, what do I want?
Magic word.
Asylum.
Right.
Asylum. Yes,
Asylum
yes.
seekers.
It's the magic word.
Those are the magic words. Those are the magic two words that now. That's the latest is asylum seekers.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Mike, I told you a report earlier that the RNC had said it's over 1 million since Joe Biden took office, and you've got to consider 1 million. This is not counting everybody else. These are the gotaways, and we don't know what country they came from. We don't know if they're rapists, murderers. We don't know if they're drug dealers. We don't know if they're terrorists. I don't know.
Because there have been people on the terrorist watch list who have been caught.
Yeah.
Yes.
And remember, we're not talking about, oh, well, you just don't want the people from Central or South America coming through. There have been people from over 100 countries. That's not exaggeration. Over 100 countries have been apprehended at the border and likely gotaways as well. I mean, you look at people from the Middle East. That's kind of the long way around to get into the U.S. from the Middle East.
A little bit.
And that takes some money to get around, too.
Venezuela did something actually really creative. They opened up their jails and said, leave.
Right.
They literally took their jail, all their penitentiaries, and
Really?
said, you people
You have to
can
leave the
either
country?
stay here or you go north.
Really?
Yep. And they're here.
That's north. That's up that way.
Wow.
Need a ride? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're sure you can find one.
Well, hey, if you can export all your undesirables, why not, right?
And the cost that goes with it.
Jeez, this whole thing is just disgusting because the thing is, the results aren't simply, oh no, we have people that we don't like that are in the country. It's that people are suffering. The migrants are suffering. Because they end up, you get people getting cooked into the
18-wheeler.
into 18-wheelers. You've got people who are being assaulted as they're being trafficked. You have all of these things that are happening, and then on the other side of the border, on our side of the border, you have individuals who are economically impacted. Typically, people of my complexion who are impacted by the flooding of the labor market. You have communities that are being overrun and stressed to the hilt. Like El Paso is supposed to be able to absorb 10,000 people a day.
Right.
But people are actually being affected by these lax and stupid policies by the Biden administration. But we're supposed to, supposedly be acting out of compassion by letting this thing be completely out of control.
How long can we take in the size of Chicago every year? And that's the question.
Yeah.
2.1 million people. I mean, you're talking about a large city that's coming in here, and they're here.
I mean the entire St. Louis metro area is about 3 million people. I mean, that is a huge number of people. And Nancy Pelosi was asked about this the other day. I think you saw this? I think I saw it on your Twitter, Gabe.
Mhm.
He's at St. John the Philosopher. Nancy Pelosi, boy, how's this for being comforting and how much she loves the dark-skinned people, I guess, right? Check this out.
We have a shortage of workers in our country, and you see even in Florida, some of the farmers and the growers saying, why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here.
Did she just say what I thought she should just
Is that racist?
Did she just say we need them to pick crops here?
She could have said cotton, but I think she managed to
slid under that.
It slid right around that.
Pick her cotton, not crops.
And of course, as I shared that on Twitter, what I said was meet the new Democrat, same as the old Democrat.
Yeah, I got that tweet
because I saw that and I'm like, because I spotted that on your Twitter and I was like, no, she didn't. Yeah,
she did. She sure did.
She did. That's exactly what she said.
Oh goodness.
Oh, for God's sake.
Well, old habits die hard, I guess.
314-912-1019. Let's be happy.
Yes.
Boy, was St. Louis. How rarely do we get to say downtown St. Louis was the place to be?
Yeah.
I got to be there for Saturday. I wasn't there for Sunday, unfortunately, but what a special time for the whole city. Yadi Ueno being bid farewell from the regular season, last regular season game. I've got some of the speeches that were there. We're going to relive that a little bit. Were you there? I'd love to hear your perspective on it. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. This is what's happening.
Secure border.
This border is a disaster. Massive chaos that's happening.
Interest rates remain high.
News, analysis, opinion.
What comes next?
Got some news for you.
This is News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Preservation Square, a $159 million project made up of new mixed-income apartments in North St. Louis, opened up nearly 700 new units last week. Located in the 1400 block of North 16th Street, some of the features include a new management building, a renovated community building, a recreation area, and a number of larger buildings on 14th Street alongside a proposed Metrolink expansion route. Benjamin Polson, a 33-year-old firefighter who was killed while battling a vacant house fire in North St. Louis on January 13th of this year, now has a memorial highway named in his honor. The sign featuring Polson's name is outside Resurrection Cemetery in Afton, where he is buried. The St. Louis County Library has been named the 2022 Missouri Library of the Year by the Missouri Library Association. This year's award was presented to the county library for its efforts in digital equity, community partnerships, service to justice-involved organizations, COVID-19 relief, and improved facilities. And in sports and preseason hockey, the Blues welcome the Wild to Enterprise tomorrow night. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. And the Cardinals fell to the Pirates 7-5 at Busch last night. The next three Cards-Pirates games will be played in Pittsburgh and will wrap up the regular season. Tonight's game starts at 5:35 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We do have a crash on 70 westbound before Grand. They've got the right lane closed. About a 2-minute delay. 55 north backing up Weber through Virginia. We're starting to pick up volume, but it's just pockets. 270 northbound as you run up towards Manchester this morning from I-55. 64 east has a crowded pocket at Clarkson Olive. Again at Ballast to Spady. And again 170 to Big Bend. This report sponsored by Blinds Dirt. Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retail retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and they're guaranteed to fit too. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big at blindster.com. Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Clear skies and cool temperatures in the low 50s in St. Louis this morning. Lots of sunshine on tap again today. Slightly cooler than yesterday's 79. We're up to about 76 this afternoon. Cooler tonight with a low in the 40s and a high on Tuesday with partly cloudy skies of about 77 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
The Range St. Louis West is Missouri's best indoor shooting range. With 20 climate-controlled lanes, over 70 firearms available to rent, and the best staff in the business, you're guaranteed to enjoy every minute of your time with us. Our impressive showroom is full of the latest and greatest offerings from the best manufacturers in the business. Need an optic, spare magazines, holster, or any other accessory? Let our professional staff help you find exactly what you need and get it installed for you. Mention you heard us on News Talk STL and save $100 on your membership and enjoy even more goodies. The Range St. Louis West. Are you ready?
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Are you the type of person who loves their community and wants it to be the best it can be? Now it's easier than ever to do your part. Go to recyclemo.com to see just how easy it is to recycle the right way. Or if you already recycle and want to be as efficient as possible, recyclemo.com can tell you what should and should not be recycled in your area. Become part of the clean recycling movement today. It's the right thing to do. Sponsored by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources.
Listen anytime.
It happens
Anywhere.
anywhere.
Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news.
With the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Okay, a couple of notes. Quick programming note. Joe Pags. We love having Joe Pags on this station here. He starts at 7 o'clock on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. His guest tonight is Donald Trump. Going to be on the program, so be sure to check that out. Tune in. Also, don't forget the News Talk STL podcasts. Wherever you get your podcast. I was actually kind of walking one of my friends over the weekend through the download process on the podcast. I mean, he's got our app and he listens streaming. But if you, and I don't care where you get your podcast, we're there. Just look up News Talk STL and hit subscribe, and then you've got access to all of our shows and specifically a lot of the interviews and special segments separately as well. So you can hear them again, forward them to your friends and family who need a little bit of support when it comes to debating people who are wrong about stuff. And of course, it can also be sent to people who are wrong about stuff so they can get a better perspective as well.
And can I say something about the listeners also? This weekend I was at
can't do it.
well, first of all, I want to say happy birthday to my brother. His birthday is actually today.
Hey!
And so we were at this party at Milo's, we were playing bocce ball. And I found out there were friends of mine who I haven't been in contact with in a while, but they have been listening the whole time.
Oh, great.
And they walked up and said, "Hey, Ken, yeah, I've been listening to you." Well, I'm like, "Hey, why don't you call?" So if anybody knows me right now and is listening right now, give us a call and say hi. You know, it's 314-912-1019. I want to say hi to Shelly Smith and Mitch Hammond, my buddy, and I actually grew up with Mitch.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, it was funny because my friend Dennis and I were just having some dinner, getting ready to go to that 80s metal show at the Family Arena. Oh, so much fun. So much fun. Maybe I'll do a concert review at 7:50. It was so much fun. Oh, my goodness. Two of the three bands sounded great. One of them,
okay.
Time's catching up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it was a great time.
All right.
Okay, so were you
wait a minute. You didn't even mention one of the coolest parts of your concert going experience, did you?
Oh, that's right. 7:50. I think I should do that.
Okay, all right.
It's one of those "what are the chances" type things, and we had a really big laugh over that because I texted Gabe a picture.
Yeah.
I don't even think I told you about this, Ken. So 7:50. One of the craziest things happened when I went to that show at the Family Arena on Friday.
Oh yeah.
One of those "what are the chances" things. So we'll do that at 7:50.
Yes. All right. Cool.
Okay. At the last regular season home games of Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols. Now, it's not that they won't play at Busch Stadium again because we've got the playoffs being the Central Division champions and all, but they had a great ceremony at Busch Stadium yesterday for their final regular season home game. And it was funny because I was at the game Saturday night and I was telling my friend Bob, I said, at some point on Sunday, regardless of who's winning or losing, they're going to stop the game in the middle of an inning and substitute for Albert and Yadi and let them get the big standing ovation because who wins or loses the game on Sunday makes no difference to the Cardinals in the playoffs.
Right.
None whatsoever. But they did it with Yadi and Albert and Wainwright. And I stole the picture from the Cardinals. It's going to be a new, what do they call it? Not the profile picture, but the cover photo.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to go up here at some point. And it was really great. And it was so cool. And I've got a couple, you're going to hear from Yadi and Albert here in a minute. But it's just cool the way that everybody just gels around the Cardinals, knowing this is this is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing to have these icons of the game in your city, part of your community for this long.
Yeah.
Especially Yadi Molina, 19 years consecutively.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Alex Rodriguez or Derek Jeters, when they were retiring in New York, it was them individually.
It's a big deal.
It was a big deal for them individually. But you know what? We've got three guys who are just elite players, and they're retiring, or at least two of them are retiring. Yeah, we don't know about Waino.
He's got some. He's being a little coy.
He's got a little gas in the tank left, I think.
He's being a little coy on this. But here's Albert Pujols. I mean, of course, they thanked everybody, their family and the teammates and, the managers and their agents and the fan and all that. But here's part of what Albert Pujols had to say from Busch Stadium.
It has been a privilege and honor to wear in this uniform for 11 years before I left, and definitely for the last year with the St. Louis Cardinals. So thank you so much to all of you. And two special people in my life. One of them you hear speak, Yadi and Bueno. Thank you guys for all the space time in the off season and bringing me back here. I know you guys have a lot to do with that. And one special person that I want to thank is my manager, Ollie Marmo. Thank you, brother. I will never forget that test and that phone call that we had 6 months ago when you told me that you want to bring me back here along with the ownership. So thank you for believing in me. Thank you for sticking with me. God bless you, brother.
Okay, now here's another clip I just got to sneak this one in too, Gabe, here.
Yeah.
Then a slow start. I was like, man, I should have retired. There were so many things that came through my mind. Like, I should have done it. But then I had a great faith in the Lord. There's no way that he brought me here to the city of St. Louis to embarrass myself. Just like Paul, he wants me to finish strong. And this is just one step that we take being in the postseason. So our next step is to try to bring a championship back to the city of St. Louis.
That's what we're talking about right there.
Yeah.
How can you not love the guy?
Man, the end of a storybook season would. I mean, it's written. We just need to make it happen.
That's right. That's right. Nick Schroer's on the line.
What?
The Nick Schroer?
Yeah.
No
Hey, Nick.
way. Hey, Nick, what's going on?
Hey, man, I hit a home run yesterday.
He did. Okay, let me just
702, baby.
Talk about the script. His last regular season at bat in Busch Stadium was a home run. His first ever at bat at home at Busch Stadium was a home run as well.
Oh wow! I didn't even realize that.
Well,
Bookended it.
We were there. We were there yesterday. Had the girls with me, and their new favorite player is Albert Pujols, which is weird because it's like, hey, I grew up with this guy.
Exactly.
I got to see him make history yesterday. So he not only hit 702, his last at-bat home run, he tied Babe Ruth for RBIs.
That's right.
And Waino and Molina set another record for the consecutive batteries that nobody's ever going to touch that one.
Never.
No,
I
not
was
even
actually
close.
at the game where they tied the record. But every time that they did that, it was what is it? It's a 28 now or something like that.
Yeah.
But you're
crazy.
right, Nick. It will. Nobody is ever going to come close to that record. Never.
No.
Yeah, historic day, like you guys said. If we can just write that storybook ending, get into the playoffs, go all the way to the World Series. I'm not going to jinx anything, but let's just pray that we have another Red October.
Okay, so Nick, I want to play one clip from Yachty here in a second, but when you look at like the region, I'm talking about St. Louis. I mean, like all of it. There's just something cool and special about, what the way we're rallying around this team and these guys. What's it mean to the community to you when you see not just the city, but just the whole region? Because I was there Saturday. The vibe was incredible. I mean, I'm telling you that, if it weren't too weird, everybody would have just been like hugging everybody else for no reason whatsoever. I'm very glad that didn't happen, but I'm just saying it was a party of atmosphere, man.
Well, yeah, that's exactly how it was. We were there for the opening ceremonies where, Yachty got to talk. We got to hear Wainwright, Molina, all of them. Matt Holliday's crying his eyes out. But every single time that they would come up, the standing ovations, when the home run happened, the city didn't care. The people in the stands didn't care who you voted for, Republican, Democrat, where you live, what high school you went to. We were all Cardinals fans. And that's exactly, I think, what this city, what the state needs in this politically polarized, crazy world we live in. Rallying around people like that where we can just, it's America's pastime. We can just, set down all the politics, all the stress in the world and appreciate these people for the machines that they are.
Absolutely. All right. That's a state representative, hopefully soon to be state senator, Nick Schroer. Hey, Nick, appreciate you being on the show, man.
Absolutely. God bless you guys.
All right, thanks a lot. Hey, can I play one Yachty clip real quick?
Yeah.
I know that I'm a little heavy
go
on the
ahead.
segment. Okay, so this is me running a little bit late here. All right, here's just a real quick clip of Yadier Molina addressing the fans.
I'm proud, and it was a great honor to wear this uniform for 19 years here in St. Louis. In baseball heaven, and with you, the best fan in baseball. Thank you so much.
Future Hall of Famer Yadier Molina following future Hall of Famer Albert Pujols. But I love that Pujols, he said this in the locker room afterward, he goes, this was great, this was special. We got to stay focused and win the first round of the playoffs. Probably going to be the Philadelphia Phillies, and I like our chances against them. I'm not going to lie. Like the chances. Good matchup. All right, 314-912-1019. Were you there? I'd love to get your take on that. I love that Nick Schroer called in to give us his. Also, I had one of those what are the chances situations when I went and saw the 80s metal show out in St. Charles on Friday. I'll tell you about that right around 7:51 here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. from the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
A little busier here in the last few minutes. 70 westbound to Grand, though they moved to crash off to the right side. That traffic was still heavy back to about Branch at about 4 minutes to your drive time. 55 north, add 10 minutes. Coming up from Weber to Gasconade through the work zone. 64 east is picking up some heavy pockets. Approaching Chesterfield Parkway west. Again, between Ballas and Spady. 170 in through Big Bend is pretty heavy and slow. Bridge Complex downtown still okay. 70 eastbound, you've got a heavy pocket at Lake St. Louis. One more time at T.R. Hughes. I'm Joe Sonderman. This report sponsored by Blindster. Want to save big on new blinds? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than the big box retailers. Shop Blindster now and save 45% off any order just by using the code RADIO. Offer ends soon, so shop today at Blindster.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
1041 on Monday, we'll talk to Miley Smith from the Illinois Policy Institute to talk about Amendment 1, which will raise taxes in Illinois. Just what they need, more taxes.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, it's Monday. That means great pizza at a great price. All 4 Steph's Pizza locations make Monday great again with a 16-inch large pizza for just the price of a small. You heard right. It's a classic large Steph's Pizza, however you would like it, for the price of a small. All 4 locations of Steph's Pizza are making Mondays great again. And hey, look, it just happens to be Monday. Check it out at stephspizza.com.
Michaels Flooring Outlet is a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years, featuring exclusive products, unbeatable prices, and expert installation. You can choose from a wide variety of flooring options, including carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, plus many other options. And you'll gain a peace of mind knowing that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michaels. You can shop in-store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home online. Check out everything Michaels Flooring has to offer at igotfloored.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
They're still anti-science and anti-governance.
Democrats offer a vision for a better America. He's losing support and enthusiasm among the base.
1019 and 94.1.
You're going in for a problem.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I guess it's apropos that Somali Crew was the bump music coming into this because I got to geek out over some other 80s metal over the weekend. I was all excited Friday going out to Family Arena in St. Charles again to see the 80s metal show. And it was great. It's a pretty good crowd out there as well. Warrant was the headliner and Winger was there and Lita Ford led off the show as well. I'm Mike Ferguson. It's a 7:52. Got Gabe here, got Ken here. I'm glad you mentioned this a little bit ago because I completely forgot about this. So I walk into my seats, and I was kind of like, if you're looking right at the stage, I was in like the first section of seats to the right of the first level of the seats. I wasn't on the floor, which was great. I was fairly close to the stage. I was up there. But my section of what was like 118 or whatever I was in, there are 6 seats in that part of the section. You know, the section's divided into 2 seats. Or 2 sections, and there's 6 seats in each side in that part. There was another guy in an eye patch in my row. So 6 seats and 2 eye patch dudes. So 6 seats, 6 people, 10 functioning eyes.
Yes.
Were there.
It's kind of awesome.
I'm like, what are the chances that the two eye patch dudes are like 3 seats apart from each other?
And he had the opposite eye of
Yes,
to you.
exactly.
Right.
He did. Because I had to snap
She got a picture with him.
I
Oh,
did.
you did?
I did.
Yeah.
I
Oh, okay.
did. I did. I was because it was funny. I texted my wife. I'm like, you are not gonna believe this. Because I started walking, and the guy looks at me, and I think he was furrowing his brow, but we only got one eye, so I don't really know. He could have had gas. I don't know. And he starts cracking up. I'm like, what are the chances? And I texted my wife, and I said, you're not gonna believe this. I said, there's another dude with an eye patch here, like 3 seats from me. She's like, you've got to get a picture with this guy. So I told him, I said, my wife wants a picture. He's like, let's do it. So I sent it to Rachel, and then I forwarded it to Gabe, and I'm like, dude, you're not going to believe this.
Well, what was his reason for having it?
Oh, I didn't ask. I don't know. But he was older guy with the long white beard, kind of. Yeah, it was just really, really funny.
So cool. Okay, do you mind if I share this on Twitter?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get hit. I guess it's okay. I didn't ask that guy about it. He didn't know that I'm the guy on the radio. I don't think. But yeah, why not? All
right, cool. Yeah, let's do that.
There it is. And if he even objects, he can call and let me know.
Yeah, exactly. I can blur most of his face.
I wouldn't even. You got to see the eye patch.
You got to see the eye patch.
I just think it was funny. So I go to the show here, and Lita Ford. You remember her from like Kiss Me Deadly and Close My Eyes Forever with Ozzy Osbourne back in the day, and she sounded phenomenal. I mean, it was like listening to her back in the 80s. I mean, she has not lost a thing on her vocals. She looks great. She sounded great. I mean, all of these singers, they're like in their late 50s, early 60s now, and time takes a toll after a while, especially if you're Lita Ford and you've lived a pretty raucous lifestyle over, say, 50-some years, which she did up until recently. But her voice really held up. She sounded phenomenal. She was a lot of fun. Of course, being the first one, she had a really short set that she had to do, but it was really a lot of fun. That's what I love about these shows is none of these bands could fill up something like the Family Arena by themselves, but you stack 3 of them together, and you got yourself just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and they're at that time, in their lives where it's like, let's make some extra money, and they're making some pretty darn good extra money.
Yeah.
In fact, if you go up northeast, oh my God, they are filling these family arenas.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I went to then after that it was Winger. And, Winger kind of got kicked around in the 80s and 90s, Beavis and Butthead making fun of them as they were kind of the poppy, wimpy type of band. And, I get it. But they were okay. Kip Winger, I got to tell you, his voice, he's got a very strong voice and he's a very talented musician.
Yeah.
But he just couldn't hold his notes. He couldn't hold his pitch. He really struggled that night.
Well, man, with the song, I'll tell you what, back in the day when you did cover tunes, which I did, I was when they were first coming out, and Winger, we just couldn't do. He was blowing doors. I mean, that was a voice that didn't last very long.
Yeah, and the thing is that after they fell out of favor and they were able to we'll just do whatever we want now. They had some really good music that never made it on to like the MTV hair circuit and radio and stuff. They did play my favorite Winger song, which is called Down Incognito, which is nothing like the poppy stuff. It was I was really excited I got to hear that. But all these guys in this band of Winger, very talented guys. And they've all been in all these different bands, like bands, Dokken, Whitesnake, Survivor, Marshall Tucker Band. All these guys have played. And so they actually did a medley from all of those different bands that they've all been in, which I think was an audible called by Kip Winger because he even said out loud, he's like, I can't sing tonight. He actually said it.
Oh, wow.
And he almost fell off the stage at one point, too,
which
was kind of funny. He was like, whoa! I'm like, come on, play your bass. Saying, I mean, they put on a good show. I'm glad I got to see him, but he had an off night because the people sitting next to me said they'd seen him in like the Monsters of Rock cruise where you just go see all these hair metal bands, and they said he sounded amazing 6 months ago. He just must be having a bad night.
Oh, okay.
Which it happens.
Yeah, sure.
Who knows? And then Warrant came up, and I'm telling you, they turned up the volume on the speakers.
That was a natural thing that you did back in the 80s.
Oh my goodness. And they barely took a break. There was almost no talking, to make jokes and stuff. It was just song after song.
Oh,
they had a certain amount of time to go and they filled almost all of it with just music and energy, and it was so much fun. So much fun.
Pictures up.
Absolutely.
Hashtag Pirate Bros.
There you go. All right. A lot of St. Louisans are in Florida helping our fellow Americans through the Red Cross. We're going to get the update at 8:05.
Do you live in West St. Louis County? Then you can get West News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. West News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit westnewsmagazine.com/subscribe or pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnuck stores. West News Magazine. Anybody who wants it, gets it. Anybody who gets it, wants it. Subscribe for free today. Simply visit westnewsmagazine.com/subscribe.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here of 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Join Chris Arps and I and the St. Louis Young Republicans for the annual Freedom Fest Barbecue. The second annual event will be on Sunday, October the 9th at the St. Louis County GOP headquarters at 11:30 a.m. Special guests, Attorney General Eric Schmidt, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, State Senator Bill Eigel, and more. Stand against tyranny, strengthen the conservative movement, enjoy tasty eats at the St. Louis Young Republicans Freedom Fest Barbecue. More information at newstalkstl.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Tim said, how about pseudo-fascist? That's probably the best. But they're not using it. See, somebody said, they didn't say quasi. I said quasi. I got to remember what I say.
Well, I just don't know what semi-fascist could possibly be.
Half fascist. We're fash. Semi-fascist would be fash.
That sounds like the popular term.
The kids would say, yeah. Oh my God, Ken, you're right. What's the sitch? Well, I'm a fash.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. While progress has been made in turning the lights back on, more than 500,000 homes and businesses remain without power in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian in Florida. Correspondent Bobby Kina-Caval is in hard-hit Fort Myers, where he says that many of yesterday's church sermons focused on being grateful for what the storm did not take from those in the pews.
At churches, parishioners gathered to give thanks despite the destruction wrought by Hurricane Ian. One pastor talked about the heavy losses, destroyed homes, damaged buildings, but he said the community was much stronger and it would survive whatever Hurricane Ian left behind. All is not lost, he said, if you haven't lost your life.
And in the wake of Ian's devastation, Town Hall News and our companion network SRN News, partnering with Christian nonprofit relief agency Food for the Poor to send emergency supplies to victims in Florida and the Carolinas. There's more information available at the website srnnews.com. No tax relief for you high-wage earner. The British government forcing to pull an about-face on one of its major economic policies just over a week after it was unveiled.
The Prime Minister and the Chancellor have been humiliated because yesterday Liz Truss was absolutely adamant that this was the right plan and that she was sticking by that controversial decision to abolish the 45p rate of income tax. I'm told that there was a series of meetings over the course of the day where it became increasingly clear to the Prime Minister and the Chancellor in their conversations that this just wasn't going to fly.
And that's the BBC's Nick Erdley. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 284 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
And now a small business setback is assessed by a beloved family pediatrician.
Oh, hey, Tiger. Big scary tree branch give your work truck a boo-boo? Yeah. Wow. See this thing on my phone here? It's the Progressive mobile app. Just push that little button there and report your claim. Attaboy.
When owning a small business gets painful, Progressive Commercial is here to make it all better. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
What's this? candy drawer. Who wants a lollipop?
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions. Total claims not available in all states or situations.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
70 eastbound, we've got some heavy traffic running in towards Lake St. Louis. One more time at TR Hughes. There's a crash on the right shoulder there. 55 north, it's Weber up through Gasconade. Add 9 minutes delay. 270 northbound between 55 and Manchester, an additional 12 minutes of heavy and slow traffic. 64 east, it's heavy as you come in towards Ballast, mainly McKnight through Big Bend. It's slow. 70 westbound to Grand, they're clearing a crash on the shoulder. That traffic is backed up for about 5 minutes. This report is sponsored by Chucky's New Season. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Clear skies and cool temperatures in the low 50s in St. Louis this morning. Lots of sunshine on tap again today. Slightly cooler than yesterday's 79. We're up to about 76 this afternoon. Cooler tonight with a low in the 40s and a high on Tuesday with partly cloudy skies of about 77 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
The news and talk that affects St. Louis.
Raised interest rate by 0.75 percentage point. Nothing short of bad. Vladimir Putin threatened not to ease tensions, but to escalate them through the threat of nuclear weapons.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I love Jesus. He was my superhero.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Twitter is like being able to read every toilet wall in the world.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin God.
We need to, I think, mentally brace ourselves, emotionally brace ourselves over the next few weeks, probably, with the level of devastation that Hurricane Ian has brought to Florida, to a much lesser degree, South Carolina. You know, there's some other areas that had bad storms, but during the Category 4 phase of this, almost Category 5, damage is just immense. I think a lot of people just are having trouble putting their mind around it. And I say we need to brace ourselves because we're probably going to get a stream of bad news as far as the fatalities, as far as businesses destroyed, as far as, you know, medical services disrupted. There's actually one connecting bridge between Fort Myers and, what's the name of this town? Because I used to drive there, Cape Coral. And the bridge was like a 30 or 40 foot part of it just wiped away. I mean, concrete bridge. I've driven over it many times. The force of this storm is phenomenal. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what else will get a stream of is accusations and issues from the left about, you know, what Ron DeSantis hasn't done to help the people.
Well, we'll get to that later. But right now we've got a lot of St. Louisans who are there.
Right.
They are trained through the Red Cross. And they're going to be more likely deployed this week. And Sharon Watson from the St. Louis Regional Red Cross office, is with us right now. And Sharon, appreciate you being on the program. First of all, how many of your volunteers, local volunteers, St. Louis volunteers, have already been sent to Florida, and what are they actually doing?
We currently have 14 people on the ground. We sent a team of 2 drivers down with an emergency response vehicle last week, and the rest flew down. They are helping with sheltering and with planning, with a lot of the logistics of making sure people are in the right place and getting what they need and getting the support from the Red Cross.
So we're talking just basic life stuff, like immediate, nothing fancy, just roof over your head, food in your stomach kind of stuff.
Exactly. That's what the Red Cross's primary focus is. Our focus is to make sure people have a place to stay. They can come in, get food, water, charge up their cell phones, be able to try to start figuring out their next steps, but really just to have that immediate place to go for safety.
That's awesome, Sharon. This is Ken. The people that you've sent down there, are they trained for all of this? Are they just volunteers, or what's their situation?
Yes, they are volunteers who are trained prior to going with many hours of training, and also teamed up with people who've done this before and have experience with it as well. And so working in a shelter, of course, can be quite challenging. You're dealing with people's emotional needs, their physical needs, a lot of things. So they're there to help people with things like trying to replace their eyeglasses or get a CPAP machine for the night or replace wheelchairs and other medical equipment. So we have disaster health workers there helping. We have mental health workers, too, that come in to support with some of those mental health needs. So definitely a challenging situation that they're walking into. And even if they're there on a mobile feeding vehicle handing out food, they're still hearing those stories of people who are really distressed and just trying to have a listening ear and try to figure out where to go next.
Okay, I want to get to what's next just ahead here in a second. But first, let me do a sidebar real quick, Sharon, because, I have heard from so many relief agencies, nonprofit and governmental sector as well, who have said the same thing. And this is one of the things that a lot of people don't realize. There's sometimes what's called the second disaster. And that's really well-meaning people who just say, oh my gosh, look what happened. I'm going there to help out. And they show up and say, put me to work. Let me do something. And they're not trained and they don't know they're coming. And then you end up having to take care of them. So what we're talking about with Red Cross volunteers are people who have gone through training, know what they're doing. They're prepared for this. You knew they were going down. And so this is the effective way. So if somebody says, I really, really, really want to help, let me do something, but they're not trained, the best thing they can do is probably financial support at this point, I would think. Sharon, is that right?
That was absolutely right. Yes, financial support is the best support for immediately helping out to be able to ensure that we're able to continue providing that daily support and immediate needs. You can call 1-800-RED-CROSS or go to redcross.org to donate. You can also text to donate as well. If you text Red Cross or at 90999, or if you want it to go directly to Ian, you can text Ian to 90999, and that'll get a $10 donation to the Red Cross.
Okay, so, and I know Ken's got something else here, but let me ask then, what is still ahead? Like, will there be more St. Louisans being deployed to Florida?
Yes, we will continue to deploy more of our St. Louis area individuals who are on a waiting list, just waiting to get the call. We know that a lot of that just depends on what the needs are in Florida in the coming days, but we would anticipate more people to be going down to support the needs. There's also disaster assessment needs that they look to us for to go out and kind of do general disaster assessments to determine all of the damage across the state and just help with the continued need for, of course, feeding and sheltering.
I was going to ask that same question, okay. But that's okay. No, Sharon, you have this big event here going down to Florida, but are there other things that the St. Louis area American Red Cross is working on, here or outside of St. Louis right now, in addition to Florida?
Yes, we actually have 5 individuals in Puerto Rico still for the hurricane there, and that number has dwindled quite a lot. We did have a significant number down there, and we had people out in the wildfires, but a lot of those teams have transitioned back home and are getting prepared to go to Florida over the next several weeks. Our teams go in for 2 weeks, and then they are relieved, and somebody else comes in behind them.
We are visiting with Sharon Watson from the St. Louis, the regional offices of the Red Cross. And Sharon, before we go here in a few minutes, I want to make sure that we give out all that information again as far as, if they want to make a donation. And also the next question, though, is if people see the work that's being done, you see, the devastation that's happening. There's a lot of people say I should be doing something. If they want to be involved and they want to be ready for the next disaster, and there will be a next disaster. It could be weeks away, it could be years away, but there will be another one at some point. If they say, I want to be available to do something like that, what does that process look like?
It basically is going to our website at redcross.org and signing up as a volunteer. They can basically, once they sign up, then the local office will be in touch with them and work with them on exactly what they want to do if they don't have an idea exactly what they want to do. And there are so many different things that you can do, even remote positions, to help in the Red Cross. So it really depends on what your skill set is and what your preference is, what you want trained on to be able to join the Red Cross, and then we'll get you set up and get you out there.
And Sharon, I know you'll accept anyone to take them through the process at first, at least. Is there an expertise that you're really looking for, though?
One of the things that we really need is people to drive our emergency response vehicles to Florida, and so that involves driving, it's a larger size van. It's not a significant vehicle, but it's just training for that, and then doing the mobile feeding. We also are in need of disaster health workers, so people who have a health expertise or mental health expertise. We're always looking for them to help out in situations like this, and then individuals who are just willing to, work in a setting where you might be dealing with a lot of chaos sometimes. So It's not always that way, but certainly it can be.
Sharon, there's probably a lot of people who say, yeah, but that's what the government's for. That's what the National Guard's for, and that's what they're going to take care of. Why is it so important to have in the private, in the nonprofit sector, organizations like yours? And you're not the only one. There are other organizations that specialize in different things that go down, work in tandem. Why is it so important to have this multifaceted approach of nonprofit and government and others in a situation like this?
Well, you're absolutely right. The government actually relies on the Red Cross and all of these partner entities to do what we do during these types of disasters, so they don't have to. So when Red Cross is there and we're setting up shelters, that means that's one less thing that the government does not need to do. And for example, other feeding organizations, Southern Baptist, different groups like that are really key in actually coming in and actually setting up large kitchens and providing food. So all of those pieces are just so important in a situation like this, because it takes everybody. We really just couldn't do it by ourselves, and government couldn't do it alone. We need all of our partner agencies out there to help out.
So if somebody donates $10, $25, $100, $1,000, does that go? Where does that go? What does that money turn into right now?
If you designate it when you go onto the website to go to Hurricane Ian, it will go there. So you can, when you call in or you go on the website or you do the text, you can designate it to go there specifically, and that will just help with ongoing operations there, with providing all of the supplies that the Red Cross has to supply, with making sure we get people there, send them, they're on flights. There's a lot of expense involved in just getting our people there and having them there for 2 weeks. And of course, this operation will go on for many, many weeks.
Okay, Sharon, let's give out that contact information and that donation information again real quick before we go.
Okay, you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS, or you can go to redcross.org on the website, or you can text the word Ian, I-A-N, to 90999 to give $10 to Red Cross.
All right, Sharon Watson from the Red Cross right here in St. Louis. Really appreciate the update. I may pester you for another update sooner rather than later as well.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right, once again, redcross.org. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going there during the information segment here. Going to make myself a donation. If you're going to make one as well, let us know about it. You can comment on, you can comment, tweet at us. You can comment on Rumble. You can comment on Facebook. Let us know. But I know that NewstalkSTL family can contribute something here as well. We can do it right now. It doesn't take much. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
want to give me more information.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
There's a crash southbound on 170 past Ladue. It's minor, but they are partly blocking the right lane. Delays are building back through Delmar. 44 eastbound still backing up approaching Big Bend. 55 north still backed up near Carondelet to Gasconade. 70 westbound delay from near I-44 to Grand. They were clearing a crash from the right lane. Should have that out of there momentarily. 270 north pockets between Gravois and Manchester slow. 64 eastbound, you've got the heavy traffic between Lindbergh and Big Bend, but that's starting to do a little bit better. This report is sponsored by Chucky, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
Columbo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. We trust Agers with our home because their number one priority is doing right by the customer. Temperatures are changing outside, and as we transition from warmer temps to cooler ones, if you have any issues keeping your family comfortable, don't wait. Call the great team at Agers so they can address the issue before it gets worse. Because whether it's repairs or replacement, Agers is there with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
10-year-old George Haruza and his parents, with only what they could carry in a suitcase, made a daring escape from behind the Iron Curtain of communism. George Haruza and his family risked their lives fleeing communist oppression to secure the freedom and promise of America. George Haruza quickly learned English, studied hard, and worked harder. Overcoming every hurdle in his way, George Haruza is now a world-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader.
So I do believe in a limited government. Governments should provide for the people who are really in need. Encourage everybody else to rise up to their potential, and then mostly get out of the way.
Now George Haruza wants to bring his record of getting good things done to the state senate, and George Haruza understands the mission. George Haruza for state senate, a record of getting good things done. Paid for by Haruza for Missouri.
Fox News commentary.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, Governor Ron DeSantis issues a warning to those looking to take advantage. Get ready to applaud America's governor. Next.
Businesses don't run on automation or algorithms alone. What powers businesses are your people and the people they serve. At Cintas, your dedicated service reps understand what you need to help you keep your employees feeling safe, comfortable, and performing their best. So your business can too. For workwear, essential cleaning products, first aid and safety supplies, and fire protection services, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
In the aftermath of catastrophic weather events, some use the destruction, disarray, and instability to take advantage of stores, businesses, and homes, but not on Governor Ron DeSantis' watch. In a press conference, he made it very clear, you will not get away with looting in the state of Florida. DeSantis warned that law enforcement is on high alert and for good measure, reminded folks that Florida is a Second Amendment state. The Lee County Sheriff echoed the governor, saying there will be zero tolerance for those looking to take advantage of others. You will be hunted down and you will go to jail. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what leadership looks and sounds like. Imagine if that was a sentiment delivered during the Summer of Love 2020 riot season. No looting will be tolerated, no destruction, no violence. That would have been nice, right? Governor DeSantis has proven time and time again he is America's governor, and Florida, you should be proud. I'm Tommy Lahren.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
During that information segment, I went to redcross.org after hearing from Sharon Watson. It took me 30 seconds to give him $50. Anybody want to match me on that? If you do, I'd love to hear it. 314-912-1019. I'm also looking at the Rumble chats as well. Feel free to let us know there. If you want to shout out, we'd love to give you a shout out if you want to do it, in honor of somebody else. Or you can comment at Facebook or tweet at us as well. But it doesn't take much. I mean, it literally took me 30 seconds to send him $50 for Hurricane Ian relief.
And if you're in a business and you want to challenge another business, a competing business, then how about that too? 314-912-1019.
Yep, absolutely. So, but the reason that we ask is not so you can necessarily pat your own back. That's not why I'm saying that I did it, but I'm hoping that it does give a little momentum. I mean, St. Louis, at some point, we've been hit by tornadoes. We've been hit by floods. We're going to get hit by tornadoes again. We're going to get hit by floods, and people all over the country make donations. It's what we do as Americans. I mean, we remember the Joplin tornadoes. We remember the 1993 floods, and part of our recovery was other people giving to organizations like the Red Cross, giving to organizations like Samaritan's Purse, giving to organizations like Convoy of Hope. But right now, we've got St. Louisans on the ground in Florida right now through the Red Cross. And so I'll probably give to some of the others too. But if you call in and say, yep, I'm giving them $25 or $50 or $100 or whatever it is, I'll match you, Mike. I'll match you at $50. That kind of, I think, inspires other people to get involved as well. 314-912-1019. Some of the national news, the U.S. Supreme Court begins a new term today. And, of course, the court looks just a little bit different because there's a new justice on the bench. Fox News' Jessica Rosenthal has the story.
Today marks Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's first term as a Supreme Court justice. The first case the court will consider has to do with whether the EPA has the authority to claim the Clean Water Act applies to an Idaho couple's plans for a piece of property the EPA says is technically wetlands. But there are other critical cases on the calendar, including two that could result in an end to affirmative action on public and private college campuses. Two other cases pertain to elections. One is a challenge to North Carolina's redistricting and whether gerrymandering violated the state constitution. Another case out of Alabama alleges the redrawing of congressional districts violated the Voting Rights Act. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
And I can tell you that some point later this week, probably on Wednesday, we are going to have a much more in-depth preview of the cases the Supreme Court has chosen, because just like the last session, they are only picking very consequential decisions that look to things like property rights, individual liberties, things like that.
And I'll be interested to see how Ketanji Brown Jackson votes. You can kind of get an idea about the person and how they're going to be in the future if you see, because the cross section of what we just heard that they're going to be voting on, it was a pretty good indicator.
It is. That's right. And I think, like, for instance, a lot of people point out just how far she is extremist to the left. She's easily now probably more fringe to the left than Elena Kagan and even more than Ruth Bader Ginsburg was and those justices. But here's the thing: is it doesn't change the vote total. So what happened was we traded out an old liberal for a young liberal, and it's not going to change the votes. Although she is farther to the left, but when it comes down to yes or no, the vote count really doesn't change.
Yeah.
It's still 5 conservatives, 3 liberals, and then Roberts and whatever he feels like on any particular given day.
And that would be the big surprise is if she acted like Roberts.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I don't see that either.
I don't see it either. I mean, so even some of her comments during the confirmation hearings shows that she is highly ideological. With Roberts, at least he tries to make legal constitutional arguments. I just think he takes extreme liberties with the Constitution in order to do something basically pragmatic. And justices aren't supposed to be pragmatic. They're supposed to be intention. They're supposed to be what's the oh my goodness, I'm having trouble with words today. Originalist. That's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be originalist, meaning this is what the Constitution says. This is what it was meant when it was written. No more, no less. Let the chips fall where they may.
Right.
And Roberts just is kind of wishy-washy on stuff like that. So it's going to be a fascinating. Term, just like last year. Let's see here. This makes me mad. Okay, normally I don't talk about just like property crimes and break-ins and things like that. But over the weekend, early Sunday morning, the historic Scott Joplin house, on Delmar, somebody broke into that and trashed part of the place. This really pisses me off. The deputy director for Missouri State Parks, his name is Brian Stith, he told our news partners KMOV that people walking by early Sunday morning saw someone throwing things out of the second-story window of the home, and that's who called the police. So somebody broke in basically the back of the building through a window, and they got in, and police arrived, and they still had the person there, and they had damaged furniture. They had damaged some historical artifacts, including some of the musical instruments. Remember, Scott Joplin, tremendous influence on American music in the early part of the 1900s, particularly obviously jazz, ragtime. So a large part of the culture of America in early 1900s, which continues to have an impact today, was affected by Scott Joplin.
Yeah.
Kind of a gem, in St. Louis. And some jerk went in there and damaged it. And you can file an insurance claim if you want, but when you're breaking artifacts and you're breaking musical instruments, you don't get that stuff back.
No.
So that really, really ticks me off. So he lived in that particular home in 1901 to 1903. And so there's just some stuff that's going to be lost. But speaking of crime, St. Louis Board of Aldermen later this week, on Wednesday, are going to be discussing a non-binding resolution that would call for increasing the pay for St. Louis City police officers because they are losing so many police officers, and obviously crime is out of control. I don't know how anybody makes an argument that crime is under control or getting better. And you can say, well, we're not the number one murder capital of the country anymore, so it's going the right direction. No, it just means New Orleans is going the wrong direction faster, and they caught up to us. No. I mean, sometimes I think we're not number one in murder anymore because we're running out of people to kill.
No, I can tell you, I talked this weekend to a few police officers. That subject came up, and one of them is actually considering going to another Jefferson County, actually, because they're paying a lot more. And not only that, though, but it's the support they get from the prosecuting attorney's office and everybody. They can jump through all these hoops to get these criminals off the streets, but then they see them the next day on the street because they didn't do anything to prosecute them or to put them in jail, Mike.
Yeah, let's talk about this in more depth at 8:35. KMOV's Russell Kinsall did a report on this, and you mentioned that he's thinking about going to Jefferson County. Well, there's a reason for that. Jefferson County wants these police officers, and they're willing to pay more for those police officers. And while I know it's a whole different area because it's more of a rural, maybe / suburban, but more of a rural community, they've got a whole different set of problems that they deal with. It is affecting the city, and you can say, well, they're poaching the cops. It's their fault. It's Belleville's fault. It's Jeffco's fault. No, it's not. If these police officers knew that they were appreciated, I think a lot of them would stay for a lower salary.
Yeah.
If they knew
they were getting the support.
Yeah, if the city hall had their back.
Yep.
But the city hall, because of the left-wing ideology, does not have their back. And then they wonder why they're losing police officers.
Yeah.
So let's go into more detail on that at 8:35, especially with what it means to you, whether you live in the city or not. This does affect us all. That's still ahead in about 4 minutes, right around 8:35 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Decision 22 News.
Inflation, gas prices.
Decision 22 Analysis.
The things the American people want to hear about.
Decision 22 Opinion.
Same old tired talking points.
In St. Louis, Decision 2022 happens right here. News Talk STL.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. The Scott Joplin house will be closed indefinitely after someone broke in yesterday morning, leaving behind major damage. The deputy director from Missouri State Parks says people walking by saw someone throwing things out of the second-story window of the home and called the police. Preservationists of the historic Greenwood Cemetery in Hillsdale are assessing widespread damage after vandals toppled gravestones, lit fires, and smashed benches. At least 36 headstones were toppled over the past week at Greenwood, the first commercial cemetery for Black people in the St. Louis area. Illinois State Police are looking for help identifying a semi-truck driver who struck and killed a woman alongside Interstate 55 near Cahokia Mound Saturday night. The woman was getting into her disabled vehicle parked on the right shoulder when she was struck by the truck driver, who then fled the scene. And in sports, the Cardinals fell to the Pirates 7-5 at Busch last night. Albert Pujols hit his 702nd home run and tied Babe Ruth for second on the all-time career RBI list. The next 3 Cards-Pirates games will be played in Pittsburgh and will wrap up the regular season. Tonight's game starts at 5:35 p.m. And Mayor Tashara Jones officially proclaimed that this Tuesday, October 4th, will be Yadier Molina Day, and Wednesday, October 5th, will be Albert Pujols Day in the city of St. Louis. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Doing pretty well. We're improving westbound 70 at Grand, where we had an earlier crash. They are about to wrap one up. They've got a tow on the scene. Southbound 170 at Ladue, but you've got slow traffic back to about Delmar on that one. 44 eastbound still tied up approaching Big Bend. 55 northbound still pockets, Virginia up through Gasconade, but that's doing better. 270 north still pretty crowded. 44 up through Manchester. This report sponsored by Blindster. Need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made shades, blinds, and shutters shipped right to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and they're guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big. Blindster.com. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Clear skies and cool temperatures in the low 50s in St. Louis this morning. Lots of sunshine on tap again today. Slightly cooler than yesterday's 79. We're up to about 76 this afternoon. Cooler tonight with a low in the 40s and a high on Tuesday with partly cloudy skies of about 77 degrees. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert every Saturday morning at 9 right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Have you been floored? Not until you've gone to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Save money and get quality at Michael's. Plus, your installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president.
We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Mommy, what are those Democrats up to now?
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Last night the working town, Tim, Dan, and Jonathan.
The week ahead. The first Monday of October means the Supreme Court starts its new term. Members of the public will be able to attend oral arguments, and the nation's High Court will continue its audio live stream it began at the start of the pandemic. Tuesday, if weather permits, 4 astronauts are set to launch to the International Space Station aboard a SpaceX Dragon capsule sent into space atop a Falcon 9 rocket. The 2 NASA astronauts will be joined by a Japan Aerospace Exploration astronaut and a Russian cosmonaut for a planned 6-month mission. Wednesday, OPEC and non-OPEC partners, the energy alliance known as OPEC Plus, is set to meet. The group recently moved to cut oil production targets by 100,000 barrels a day. Industry analysts say the alliance is expected to continue with its current oil production policy. Friday, more than half of those living in California will start seeing stimulus payments of between $200 and $1,050. And that's a look at your week ahead. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News.
All right, St. Louis City Hall is going to be discussing a non-binding resolution, which may or may not lead to a discussion as to whether or not they actually want a police force in the city. I don't mean to hyperbolize it, but basically that just kind of feels like where it's at.
That is where it's at.
Yeah. And so let's do that in about 30 seconds. Real quick programming note. Joe Pag Show starts at 7 p.m. every night here on News Talk STL, and I love Joe. Joe is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
His guest tonight is former President Donald Trump.
There we
Going to
go.
be on the show. So
Awesome.
check it out. 7 o'clock right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Just thought I'd mention that. People figured there's a few people who want to hear that.
Sure, absolutely. I'd say quite a few.
Yeah, so be sure to check that out. All right, so here's what's happening. Friday, there was a resolution introduced to the city council or the Board of Aldermen in St. Louis City. And Russell Kinsall from our news partners at KMOV covered the story because the Board of Aldermen basically now has to have a discussion about whether or not they want to be serious about public safety and law enforcement in the city. So I've grabbed a couple parts. I mean, Russell's story is pretty in-depth, and you can find it at KMOV.com. But here's part of what the city will be debating, the Board of Aldermen will be debating on Wednesday.
I would like to make a motion to place Resolution 113 in Public Safety Committee.
South City's 14th Ward Alderwoman Carol Ward sponsored the resolution.
We're really bleeding officers.
The St. Louis Police Department started the year with 1,128 commissioned employees. It's hired 71 new officers, but more are going than coming. 154 left the force. As of today, the city's seen a net loss of 83 officers, or a 7% drop. Many of the officers leaving are going to departments with better pay.
Okay, here's the thing is that's not a new thing. This has been happening. So that's when you look at the last year. And by the way, that was once again Russell Kinsall from KMOV. You compare that to the year before and the year before and the year before. You go back to the post George Floyd riots.
Yeah.
Then you go back to the post Michael Brown riots and the lack of support that law enforcement is getting in a lot of different ways in St. Louis. And you've got a significant deficit in the number of sworn police officers needed based on the size of the city of St. Louis. And that's where we're at. That's been going that way for years.
Yeah, I mean, it's in any job, Mike. If you don't have the support of the people who are in charge, then you it's not just the job itself, it's morale.
Yeah.
I mean, you really want to be able to have that backing and have the trust. Really, the trust from the people in the higher ups who are going to be supporting you.
And it's beyond the trust, though. You're right, but it's also about, when you're talking about the morale, it's about knowing that they at least are on your side. And this is why it gets into the actual ideology of the people we elect. This is why elections matter. This is why the conversations we have here with the News Talk STL family, everybody who's listening, whether you're on the right or whether you're on the left or wherever, a lot of times people think that these are just big coffee clutches every day from 5:30 to 9, and then from 9 to 11 with Vic, and then in the afternoon with Katie and Columbo, and then with Chris and Tim in the late afternoon, and then Joe Pags, and then Bongino in the middays. That this is all just about, we're debating, we're having a philosophy discussion, and our ideas are better than theirs, and we win and they lose, and that makes us better people. That's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. This is about getting hopefully more people to see, yes, there is a need for civil society to have law enforcement that is supported and accountable. Yes. Without a doubt.
Sure.
But what we have right now in the Board of Aldermen and in city government in general, mayor, prosecuting attorney, or circuit attorney, all of this is an ideology that at its logical conclusion brings us right to where we are. The number 2 most murderous city per capita in the United States, number 1 for years, high violent crime rate, people exiting the city as fast as they can, which leaves abandoned properties, which is also a haven for additional criminal activity as well. And you've got police officers who are leaving. Yes, there's more money, but my guess is that they're really leaving because their own city government is hostile to them.
And that's exactly it. It's not only their trust in the higher ups, but the higher ups trust in them. And you know what? It's kind of a revolving door, I guess you could say, or I don't even know how to explain it exactly. But it comes down to the people who vote. To vote them out and vote. I know they might be afraid because of a change of some kind. Well, they may be thinking, the people of St. Louis I'm talking about, may be thinking, if I vote in Republicans, we could get a really, a police state. No, you're not. You can vote them out too.
Right.
I mean, but you've got to be able to get these people that are ensconced in the government here since 1949 out so that you can try something new. Otherwise, you're not going to try anything new.
You look at some of the numbers, and this is in Russell Kinsol's report, which you can find at KMOV.com. The starting salary for a St. Louis City police officer is $47,800 a year. That's pretty good for the Midwest.
Yeah,
it really is. St. Louis County, it's $55,000 and change. So
and that's good.
Yeah, that's really good. You can make more immediately there. Chesterfield, $58,500. St. Charles County, just a little bit more there at the Sheriff's Department, $58,800. Jefferson County, $55,000 as well. Belleville, the city of Belleville, this actually really surprised me. Starting salary for a police officer, $71,000 a year. That's some good money.
Because they know the priorities there. And I know in the past 10 years, Belleville's been facing a lot of crime.
Right. Absolutely they are. So the difference is Belleville says, we'd better have a police force that's dedicated to serving the community and stopping it. And St. Louis City says, let's decimate our police force and let them know that we're going to come after them whenever there's a conflict. We're going to assume the cops are in the wrong, and you've got a circuit attorney that doesn't want to prosecute criminals. And the first question she asks, well, is that cop racist?
Right. I mean,
whether or not they are.
Exactly. Would you want to pull your gun on anybody if they're aiming a gun at you?
Right.
If you think to yourself, well, no matter how good it seems like ironclad this is, if I shoot, I don't know what's going to happen to me after that.
And a no-go list because she doesn't like something that somebody put on a social media. I'm not going to take cases from that officer. So they are a logical response is they don't arrest as many people, especially if they know that somebody's going to be let out.
Yeah.
And so you've got a city government whose left-wing ideology can only result in people who are less safe, people who are hurt, and people who, I'll even say it, who get killed.
Yeah.
Because of a essentially pro-criminal mindset that is consistent with the far left. All right, let's talk about something a little bit nicer, a little bit more fun here to wrap up. How about the stuff that kind of unites us in St. Louis?
Yeah.
And over this weekend, it was the Cardinals and Yachty and Albert. What a special weekend it was.
And Waino.
But I think we might get to talk about Waino again next year.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see here. All right, 8:50. We'll talk about that on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Johnny used to work after school, after set on the show.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We're doing pretty well with a couple of exceptions. On eastbound 44 at Laclede Station, we've got a crash there blocking the 3 right lanes, so traffic is starting to back up there. 170 southbound is thinning out, approaching Delmar, where we had an earlier crash. Still some pockets on 270 north running up between Big Bend and Manchester, but it's starting to look better. 64 east is definitely improving, only a couple of extra minutes headed in through McKnight and Big Bend. 367 southbound at Dunn, watch out for construction work already this morning. The left lane is closed there. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
A new season is coming, and with it, major delays being reported due to another killer doll with a shady plan. Just how many Chuckies are there? Chucky rises again, and this time he wants to take over the world and our freeways. Chucky Season 2 premieres October 5th, only on USA and Sci-Fi.
Columbo and Katie.
We are now into October and just over a month away from the midterm elections. Time is actually flying. Join us on Monday as Katie and I bring you all the important news and headlines to start your week.
Weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. I love to grill and definitely prefer using charcoal over gas. And ever since I met Jonathan Heslop and he introduced me to his product, Rockwood Lump Charcoal, I can't use anything else. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory and has been the nationally highest consumer-ranked charcoal for several years. So you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. Doesn't get any better than that. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. As my daughters would say, it's fall, y'all. That means it's the perfect time to call Hanson's. Prime time for Hanson's to come out and do all that fall trimming before winter storms can bring down trees and limbs on the homestead. Get on the Hanson's schedule for winter dormant oil applications to protect your trees from insects taking shelter over the winter, and a perfect time for Hanson's to put you on a preventative plant health care program. Everything you need for winter can be found at Hanson's. Hanson'sTree.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
We need change in our country right now.
Live and local.
They clubbed us over the head for 2 years.
Yep. You want corruption? This is how we get corruption.
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
The 0-1. Albert lifts it in the air out to center. Going back, Reynolds at the wall. He's done it. He's done it. His final regular season home game, number 702. He's tied the game. He's tied Babe Ruth all time in runs batted in. 2,214.
On that turned out to be Albert Pujols' last at-bat at home at Busch Stadium in a regular season game. That call from MLB Network. What a special time. And by the way, quick trivia note, Albert Pujols' first at-bat at Busch Stadium in his career, he also hit home runs. So his first at-bat and his last at-bat in regular season play at home in a Cardinals uniform were home runs. I don't know that there could be anything more fitting than that.
No, and that's a nice script. I know Vic's talked about having a movie of this whole thing, and he's been talking about that from the very beginning of the season.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to finish this thing off, though, and that would make for a perfect movie script.
What a great pregame ceremony on Sunday. I'm bummed that, I'm thrilled that I was at Saturday's game. I'm bummed I missed Sunday's game. But I was at Saturday's game, and on Sunday, the pregame ceremony, the front office corporate folks, we're talking, manager Ollie was there, but Albert Pujols, Yadi Molina, Adam Wainwright all gave just really cool speeches. And it was one of those things where everybody's on this, even the Pittsburgh Pirates are watching, and you could tell they were really excited to watch what was happening.
And impressed.
And they had the front, not even a front row seat. They were in front of the front row in the
right,
dugout,
right.
watching two future Hall of Famers being sent off by what, and when we say the best fans of baseball, I know that we say that because we're the homers here, and we love our team. But I'm telling you, I have talked to current and former pro athletes around in my media career, and they will almost always tell you St. Louis is different, man. man, those Cardinals fans, they get it. Nolan Arenado made it clear before Colorado traded him here that he wanted to play in St. Louis because of the organization and because of the fans and because of the baseball culture. So that's one of the reasons he ended up here. And of course, I mean, the Colorado Rockies basically paid the Cardinals to take the best third baseman in baseball, but we'll talk about that at another time.
Well, I mean, you're a baseball guy. I'm a baseball guy. You know, I mean, you're more intense. You play now, but the fact is, Mike, if you're in another team and you're not doing so well, you see the Cardinals and they're interested in you. Are you kidding me?
No, yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also interesting when you look at ESPN posted the attendance for each team this year. Cardinals are number 2. Number 2.
Yeah.
Only the Los Angeles Dodgers had more people show up to games this season at home. And the Dodgers Stadium is much bigger than Busch Stadium. Busch Stadium is not one of the biggest stadiums in baseball. The St. Louis Cardinals outdrew the New York Yankees this year.
That's crazy.
Amazing. Here's a quick clip from Albert Pujols basically saying thank you and farewell before his last home regular season game.
Dang, a slow start. I was like, man, I should have retired. There were so many things that came through my mind. Like, I should have done it. But then I had a great faith in the Lord. There's no way that he brought me here to the city of San Luis to embarrass myself. Just like Paul, he wants me to finish strong. And this is just one step that we take being in the postseason. So our next step is to try to bring a championship back to the city of San Luis.
I love that. I love it. Before he spoke, Adam Wainwright had a chance to give his thoughts on Albert Pujols as well.
But he's also one of the best men and teammates that I've ever been around, and that's really what I came here to celebrate today. Albert, you're an amazing person, you're an amazing player, but you're one of the best teammates I've ever had, and a man that everybody should look up to for everything you do on and off the field.
You know, I've talked to and interviewed a lot of people involved. I've never met Albert Pujols. Hopefully someday that I'll be able to, but there are times when you're working in this line of work that people will give you the skinny of what people are really like. I have never heard a single person say a bad thing about Albert Pujols. What I hear so often is sincere. And I love the fact that he says thank you to all the pomp and the circumstance, but he says, okay, but we got to stay focused. We got to win a championship. Yadier Molina, of course, made a lot of thank yous, but he also had some thoughts on playing in St. Louis with this baseball culture.
I'm proud, and it was a great honor to wear this uniform for 19 years here in St. Louis. In baseball heaven, and with you, the best fan in baseball. Thank you so much.
And then, of course, let me go back to Adam Wainwright, which you knew was going to be emotional for Adam Wainwright, his entire career essentially throwing to Yadier Molina. And we all know about the just legendary friendship that those two developed. And here's Adam Wainwright getting ready to give his pregame ceremonial remarks regarding his battery mate and good friend Yadier Molina.
And next, my catch partner, Yadier Molina. I'm going to try not to cry. I don't think I'm going to do a very good job of it. I'm going to miss you the most. I'm not going to miss having wet shoes and wet pants from you pouring water bottles down my back when you're not playing. But I am going to miss playing catch with you every fifth day. I believe you're the best defensive catcher to ever live. And maybe tied with number 5, Albert Pujols, I believe you're the most clutch player that I've ever played with. and I think absolutely the smartest player that anyone's ever seen play this game.
So there you had. Now, don't forget, it's not like we're never going to see these guys again at Busch Stadium. We do have the playoffs, but this was the last regular season, so this was the time to do it. It was just a fantastic. The way that some of these things get very wonky and boring, but man, the Cardinals did it right, and the fans did it right.
Well, the 15 years or so that I played baseball, there was a 3 or 4 year stint where I had the same catcher basically, and that's 3 years. I mean, that's not the time they put together. I mean, can you imagine being together that long and just the relationship that they had is amazing.
Twice in my life, and I play catcher. Twice in my life, including right now, I have had that sort of very direct, connection with a pitcher that's just different. The one of the pitchers I catch for right now, Dennis, he and I are just on that same page. And as a result of that, we become even closer friends because of that, because of what happens on the field. All right. St. Louis Cardinals are going to finish the season in Pittsburgh. They lost last night, but who cares? It was a great weekend, great night. I was really happy to be able to see it on Saturday. Vic Porcelli coming your way here at 9:04 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, this is David with House Sold Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and you want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000. I pay cash and close in as little as 3 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and any location in St. Louis. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses.